I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everybody. I have to turn. My hearing aids are giving me all kinds of. Yeah. Turn my Bluetooth off.
Commissioner McClure's here, Commissioner Hinkle's here, Bailey here, Jim McKay is here. So. That way everybody knows who's here. Go into the board of minutes.
I move to accept the minutes for June 20th.
Or can I, because I wasn't here.
Any public comment?
Elena,
I have my Bluetooth on, so.
No. Is it loud? Go ahead, Elena. It's on the board of minutes.
Again, Elena Gagliano for the record. Again, how can we comment on the minutes when we don't have a copy of it? And I'll save a comment for public comment period. Thank you.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good correspondence. Thank you, Billy. First one from Vera Joseph. MDT Airport Disparity Study for DBE program. Did you send this to Ernie?
I did, and he's going to come in the next month or two and do an airport update for you guys.
There's a. Next one from Rebecca J.E. Skaggs. He's Freedom of Information request. I see.
Should we answer this?
Go ahead.
Commissioner's office.
Yes, good morning. I'm not sure if this is the right phone number, but I'm calling to pay my annual lease payment for the fiscal year of 2023. I usually do it by check, but there's been so much stuff.
Okay, can I give you 859-3771 with the clerk recorder's office?
Okay, the last one, 3771.
3771, that's correct.
Perfect, thank you. I'll
You're
do that.
welcome.
Okay, the next one from Mako. It's on the petitioners and SB 442 suits, the quad override of Orange A's HB 868 Beatles. And the next one's a letter from Todd Blight, water.
On this 868, they're taking big credit for this. That was passed, I was told, because that's an appropriation bill for a lot of stuff. And other people want to get a lot of stuff.
Who's taking
Besides-
credit for it?
Make them.
Well, they voiced their opinion, so.
Well, yeah,
And everybody
but
voted.
still, there was a lot of appropriations on 868. that's why a lot of people voted for it.
Right.
To be over.
Next one's from Bob Tordovich on potholes. I'm sure you're already on the road that dam to Pinely Point. Beyond winter, which I can't say the words, potholes. Haven't seen it this bad in this many years.
I was up there Saturday and it looks like they got some of them. The end of last week, so I think they probably were up there again. Yesterday, maybe, and. Yeah, I mean, there's,
Yeah.
but they were again.
Gail or Jesse or Lisa Davila was called saying to the
Who?
Lisa Davila. He was up there and said the potholes. Well, I know they were up there and then they left because of the rain. It don't give them a good try to fill them with water. And then the way I understood that they're going back up. And then I something like that. All he needs to let us know what the last one is a Bert hazard analyst report.
I think that's the one I read last night. And is that saying that they won't accept our earthquake thing?
I know I have on an upcoming agenda, where when you guys had initially asked them if they would accept that other study as opposed to accepting this, I know they would like to see that study as well. And they want some additional information that was put together to prepare that study. And so I do have on your agenda on July 11th, our request for you guys to discuss sending and sharing and reaching out to HDR to provide additional information and responding to the comments from this correspondence.
Yeah, because I agree. Yeah. All right, any public comment on correspondence? Being none, we'll go into public comment. You have any public comments?
Anyway, you gotta be an engineer to understand this.
I know, I try to, don't be, I guess, that way, make sure we send it off to Jeremiah and anybody, that's why we pay them the. Them words I can't pronounce.
Elena has comment.
Go ahead, Elena.
Thank you. For the record, Elena Gagliano, or public comment. Again, the way the time is scheduled on these agenda, you can't possibly go over what you're supposed to go over. Let's do the correspondence. There was a letter from Rebecca Skaggs, and it was a Freedom of Information request. What action are you taking on it? I mean, that's what correspondence is. You're supposed to decide what action you're going to do for each letter request, or if they're doing something and they're thanking you, then I would think that you would say, let's send them a letter thanking them. Or let's take action on this. You just don't stamp this Freedom of Information and pass it on. She's looking for an answer. And I'm sure you're all aware of what it means, a Freedom of Information request. You just can't ignore it or just let somebody else do it. And I can look through all of them that should have an action and a discussion during correspondence. And you can't do it in 2 or 3 minutes. Okay? And this is why things get lost. Oh, and people keep calling you or writing you and saying, I have a letter, just like I think it was Chad Lane's. That's important. We're talking about the health and safety of the water up there. And when did you get that letter? A couple of weeks ago? And nothing was done except stamped. And I bring this up, and I know that all three of you have had training from Mako. And I believe that the chairman it was a requirement. And you know what I'm talking about, Chairman Adler. And yet I don't see how you're handling this according to the way public meetings are supposed to be handled. And public documents are supposed to be handled. Thank you. That's my comment.
Well, Billy, can you take care of this, casual?
Yes, Blaine and I actually, I forwarded this to Blaine as soon as we got it, and a response was provided to her with our policies and procedures, and we have heard back from her that we did fulfill her request, so.
They've already been working on it. That's why I left it at it, because it's a personal thing, and I mean, it's in a public thing, but I didn't want to bring up, you know. But they've already been working on it with Mako, so that should answer some of Elena's questions where she's saying we don't do nothing.
Don't bait her.
Hmm?
Don't bait her.
No, I guess so. I mean, we've already been working on it. It was kind of told her, yeah, you gotta be careful what bringing up her. Yeah. And on a couple of them others, we've already been talking about it, so it's not like.
So I guess in that instance, then. We should have commented on that, but it's been work in progress and it's already been handed in.
You know, I just-
Elena has another comment.
Go ahead, Elena.
For the record, correction, I didn't say you don't do nothing. I said you're handling it. You're conducting these meetings not according to the way they should be handled. And I'm also waiting, if you recall, I've asked for a letter in writing regarding the draft of minutes being denied to the public. And I haven't gotten it yet. I want it in writing. And you said you were going to check with your county attorney and I would get it. And that's what I'm waiting for. And I still haven't gotten it. Thank you.
Haven't we been through this over and over and over?
Yes. And we've even went to the church.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Yes. Any other public comment? We're not gonna get in a big debate today with her, but go ahead, Elena.
Okay, again, I'm not asking for a debate on this, and I don't need comments that we've gone through this before. I made a request and I said, and I can't continue saying, I have to raise my hand because I'm muted all the time. I said I want it in writing. And I have not gotten a letter from the county attorney. If he's decided that it's up to you, it's your discretion, whether or not you want to mute the mics, close a meeting for personal matters. I want it in writing. And that's what I want. And then you won't hear from me regarding it again. Once the county attorney tells me in writing that everything is up to your discretion, especially closing the meetings and denying the draft of minutes. And I would like it backed by Montana Code Annotated. Thank you.
Anybody else have any public comment? Go into the weekly report with Road and Bridge.
Morning.
There are two new sanders come in and the plow, it's down there, they look pretty nice stainless, they're sitting down at that. And it sounds like they'll finish up today or tomorrow. That would do
That's what we today.
Okay, on the east fork, and then they'll get back to blading the potholes. They've been jumping around, kind of going where it's not raining, just trying to get. They did quite a bit.
Paul said they'd be at the lake tomorrow.
With the potholes. Okay.
Well, with the blading,
Oh, okay.
and it needs it. I was up there.
Yeah, it's, like I said, to getting this milling thing done, it threw us behind the loop. We didn't have much storage because we got chipped, so. I think now they'll get, everybody get back and get going, get 3 blades running, and shoot that back up, I hope. The lower end of the bunch too. Did he call you back? I called Paul and told him to get a hold of Jim McKay on that up above there where Northwest does cross, and he did, said he did. You give me a number, Jim.
Our number is 406-224-4453.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I had another call out at the ranch, or not, Marletto's called, and they were wondering when the blade was coming through, so. I told them as soon as they're done there, they would start making it. That was really bad.
For Rock Creek.
Yeah, down there, in front of Marletto's, I get all them fishermen in the trailers, you know, I mean, just. That was terrible too.
Well, it really needs it between the ranch and the upper bridge. there.
Yeah.
And South Owen.
Yeah, I went
Yeah,
that
I
way.
just think
just
that
thinking
now,
it's
once
like,
to get this done, they gotta get back and get caught up on this other stuff, so. I know Friday that new kid was working in Drummond with the Drummond guy, put filling potholes on that southwest, so I thought that was a big deal, to get them. He seems to be doing good, I think they're all, being busy. You know, it's hard to blame when they've been up there 3 times in this mud.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. I don't really have a one. Oh, they wanted to talk about the petty cash box, that's solid waste. What did we end up deciding on?
Then we do a petty cash box.
And there was like, how much in it?
Well, probably, I don't think you'd need any more than 25. There used to be 25 in all the time.
the minutes say
Makes sense.
25 in each.
And it's still sitting in the, petty cash is still actually sitting in the trial balance and solid waste. There's a line item petty cash, so it's not like you have to set it up, it's already set up.
Did we want to have Lynn come in? She had a couple of questions. I can't remember the one. Maybe have her come in. She can ask some questions on the petty cash and go right with that.
Okay,
I can't.
1250, give me 20, get back.
They just need to make sure they're keeping everything a ledger, right?
Well, it has
Yeah.
to be, yeah.
And I think it's mainly for the ones that don't have a credit card that can't call up or, you know, this or don't. Wasn't that what I kind of,
Ledger and a receipt, give her a handwritten receipt.
there's big.
Hello, oh. Good morning.
Everybody having a good time?
Morning.
I'm not
No.
too under the table.
Throw you under the bus.
Man, about them bonds.
Yeah, and I just don't know what kind of accounting, what should we tell them? Are we gonna have to count this every month, or they?
Okay, I'm not sure. It'd be your basic cash box, they have $25 in it, they have anything over 25, so you're gonna put 50. in it.
I've already got them all counted out with $50, so.
So it's a daily, they have to count it daily, if there's anything, and then receipt it monthly or something to you.
Yeah, because right now, the slips are brought in when Paul stops and brings them. So that's.
So is it something where the solid waste clerk could go pick up the receipts?
Yeah, we could do that.
You wanna pay him to drive him from in the back to get him if he.
Well, we have a car.
His job to bring him on.
Yeah, well,
I
uh,
guess that's, yeah.
It doesn't get done.
I takes two to get him, one's supposed to get him. You know?
So they give the person a receipt
They'll be
right there
making
on.
Change,
All
yeah,
right,
they'll be making
and
change.
keeping a
and they can
ledger.
Put their dump slips in. I mean, we're talking. People that are not used to doing accounting either, so you gotta kind of make it real simple.
have you ever worked in a restaurant? No.
Yes. So if we do it once a month. I think that, and if we just we'll set a timetable to do it the first of the month for the past month.
Are they gonna give hand receipts then? So all they do is they have a spindle, keep their hand receipts on the spindle. Cash those, count those out at the end of and make sure, pull out the 50 and make sure that they balance.
Yeah, that's all they gotta do is
Yeah,
just balance.
And then
it out.
just turn those tickets in with the money and they'd still have the $50 in their cash box.
And then I can replace or give them change or whatever, so that they are always cause like our drawer is all, we count it out every morning and it's counted out to $300. So that's what they should be doing, is they're
Yeah.
counting it out for $50 every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah,
And that way they're keeping track of it.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
there's, okay, so just an example, you have the cash receipt input. Envelope things, they could put their daily. Into the cash and keep it under their
Yes.
little till, and then they'd have their $50 beginning. And then count it out at the end of the day with their receipts. It's
Yeah, it would only take them
a couple minutes.
yeah, and it would only take them a few days to figure
To
out how
figure
to
it
do
out.
it, it's very easy.
And there isn't that many. That's gonna come across. It's just that,
Card, right, but they do.
Yeah, I mean, we do have the visitors that come and then and now it's busier because of the summer month, but anyway. Yeah, is that,
You pretty much got it figured out.
yeah, I think so, I just wasn't really sure how to
And
teach
what
them.
she was saying, I just didn't, I didn't quite understand, so,
Okay.
yeah, I guess if she has to go get them, she can, but. Somebody else, if he's supposed to bring them, then he should. Right? Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
thanks, Vicky.
Anything else on road? Solid waste?
Yeah, that's why I'm here, the road by the ranch at Rock Creek.
Oh, coming up, then state your, please state your name, Ronald. That's fine.
Suzanne Michael, I'm the new assistant general manager of the ranch, just got here 2 weeks ago, so. Our biggest concern with the ranch from, I think you call it the upper bridge to the ranch. Is we've had my car slid off the road this week into the ditch, we had an employee's car flip yesterday. We've had, I think I'm the third car to slide off the road, and then we also had a guest who was injured, and getting that injured guest to the hospital on that road was a nightmare. So we're really concerned.
Like.
Yeah, it needs it.
Did you
It's
hear,
bad.
yeah, did you hear her say when they're supposed to be done today?
So Paul, Alt, is that his name?
Yeah, do you have his number?
Yeah, he called me, I left him a message on Friday, I didn't know if he was not in the office on Friday, and he called me back first thing Monday and said that they would come out next week, but. Like, I really hope they're coming.
Yeah, the guys don't work Friday, but he's,
Okay. Yeah, it's just more than anything, it's a safety concern. If we have a guest fall off a horse or get injured down mountain biking, it's just those seconds, those minutes count, and the road is so bad, you can only drive. I think I drive like 2 miles an hour across it right now. So it's just a big concern. That's all.
it's really, yeah, once they break from there, they gotta get them.
Okay, so we think next week?
No, and hopefully, well, they're gonna go Georgetown, you said,
It'll be at Georgetown tomorrow.
with the one way, and then they'll bring the other back down there, or what?
I don't know.
See this,
So.
We need, can't they do the one up there with one blade and the other will come down and start
I
working?
think so. I don't know who's, do they have somebody to run the second blade?
Jim did, he did a hell of a job. Marletto called last year and just thanked him big time. Such a good job he did. Jim Walden,
Yeah,
I don't know, what's their, oh yeah.
Nice.
They're
Positive,
calling it,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, it's positive.
I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, it's just, it was a good thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, we have Johnny on the one and Jim on the other, because the other ones are new guys, the other guy's back still screwed up, so we lost his blade hand there, and then one retired.
you can we call Paul and see if we can get
the blade
the
out.
second blade down.
Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
mean, I totally agree.
Yeah, have you been on it recently?
1 mile. no.
Yeah,
The traffic.
don't take it to go coffee with you on that road,
No,
because
it's
it'll all over your shirt.
We'll definitely get a hold of them and maybe you can call and talk and get them, find out what's going on. Call Paul and see what's going on. I just tried calling, no answer.
Oh,
I mean, this is, I know they're pouring cement today, I guess, what I heard. We will definitely get a hold of them today.
Very good, very good. Yeah, you guys should see me when I try to put my lipstick on that road.
I wasn't gonna say nothing. Any other public comment? On the roads or solid waste?
So on the road, to the Rock Creek. Then we need to get hold of someone immediately and get out there, call Paul and tell him to get a blade going out there.
Yeah, once they're done with up to where they're at, maybe
So-
that, I just think you can split them blades up,
Yeah.
because they did it before, and like I said, and Jim did a hell of a job down there, so.
mhm.
Maybe that's
One employee did a hell of a job out.
right in that.
Yeah, I think if we can split the blades,
Oh, we
go
got.
for it, Chuck.
Yeah.
Be assertive.
Yeah, I just tried calling them. So. We will definitely, if I'll leave here, I'll go to his house, to born to see man, sounds like, I'll go to his house and make sure and find out. Can we get your phone number?
Absolutely. I'll give you my cell. It is 970-310-9632.
Get all that, Billy.
I did. And what was your name one more time?
Suzanne. Do you want me to
Suzanne.
spell my last name?
Sure.
It is SMIKAHL.
And you're the assistant GM?
Yep, that one.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a Wrangler dislocate his shoulder in the road, relocated it.
You guys, still have an ambulance out there?
Mm-mm.
They took, what happened to that? I
We
thought,
have EMTs. But we don't have an ambulance.
well, I thought they had that, whatever happened, remember they were headed to Texas to get an ambulance and they were gonna have one out there, not.
Oh, we always have EMTs on staff, but you know, some things people need to be transported.
They should at least put in one of the ambulances.
Yeah, yeah, because I think emergency vehicles right now are going the other way to avoid a road.
Okay, we'll definitely get over Paul.
Yeah, it's much better the other way.
Anybody else? I guess we're waiting for MDT to come in.
Yep.
So if anybody wants to talk about roads and something, we got a bunch of that down there. Maria from BLM talked about turning the Garnett Road over as a Jeep road. And because that other side's really good, so.
What does that mean?
That little
Jeeps can go over it or?
well, yes, that four-wheel drive rig, and these little cars and stuff can't keep going up there and campers and motor homes. They're getting bound up there and it's a mess.
Talking about the left side. It'd have to be the. County agreeing to that. They're
Yeah, I
gonna come and
talked to
talk
her,
to the
and
county.
she's coming in
Alright.
a couple of weeks to talk to us. That's about all I know in that stuff. Maybe keep trying to call him, see if he'll answer you. Paul,
Did you want to call them now?
I just tried, no answer, no, the
Call with this? Call them with the landline?
We can, yeah, we got, oh, he's here. 371.
371.
Oh, 371.
406-370.
4117. That's his personal.
4117.
Act like you wouldn't even.
He told me never to text them.
Bill. Hey, Paul, this is the commissioner.
Yeah,
Hey, we have a lady in here. She was wondering when you were gonna, if you can get a blade down to the ranch at Rock Creek there as soon as possible.
is that Suzanne that I talked to yesterday?
It is.
Yeah, she's right here.
And I told her that we'd be down there. I talked to her yesterday and said that we'd be down there at some point next week.
Okay.
Is there any chance we could get it there this week?
No,
Why not?
because we're finishing up where we are and the blades are already scheduled out. And we're going to Georgetown Lake and Willow Creek. And we won't even be able to start blade until tomorrow. So it just won't be until next week, be the first part of next week.
If you're going to,
Everybody's in this,
yeah,
everybody's in the same shape. And, we're just getting everywhere as fast as we can get there, we're getting there.
well, it's just the upper part between the bridge and the ranch. You know, there's no way you could get that on the way to Willow Creek.
They just.
I mean, if,
Go ahead.
if we do that, then we just put them on hold, whatever you guys wanna do, but, we're kind of on our plan for that. You know, and the same with Moose Lake, I mean, everybody's in dire straits because of all the rain.
Which would get the most traffic for the fourth?
Which gets the most traffic?
Yeah,
Moose Lake. Moose Lake and Georgetown Lake get the most traffic.
more than Rock Creek?
Yeah. Rock Creek, their big deal is as soon as they get off their boat. You know, and they're all on the Rock Creek side. On the Marletto side, they're not on the branch to Rock Creek side. They're all by the water.
Well, I've tried to drive on both sides. I've driven European style, I've driven down the middle and it's bad.
What's that?
I said it's bad on both sides, bad in the middle. There's no way to avoid potholes.
I can't understand what she's saying.
She said there's no way to avoid the potholes. I was down there and I agree with her. I mean, it was
Well,
bad.
I do too, Chuck. I mean, I know it's terrible. But, we're just, you know, it's one or the other.
Well, that's the question, Paul. Have you driven them and maybe looking at which is in the worst shape?
I have, and the work, actually, it would cost something, Georgetown Lake is 100%. We gotta get there immediately,
It's about the
and,
same.
Moose Lake is just equally as bad. And I know that Rock Creek's bad. We just gotta split the blade up and go, you know, I could start one guy down, I guess, from, Rock Creek, run split three up on different directions.
That's what I was gonna ask, maybe bring the other blade up from down below and just try to get work one in and start working down. I don't know, that's a
Look.
bit.
But that's my plan already, I already have the blade up there.
Oh, I didn't know.
Wow, yeah, from home, I got it up there already. Yeah, we're just. You know, we just need to stay on the road and go and do it rather than just do a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, we just need to start talking them out. And, Monday is before the 4th as well, so there'll still be a blade there before the 4th of July.
Well,
Okay. Well, we'll just,
The line on Tuesday, you know,
are they gonna work on Monday?
they are gonna work on Monday, yeah.
No,
It's not a 4-day weekend. I think.
All right, well, we just had to answer some questions. We weren't sure what to say.
Yeah, yeah, I actually, I had talked to her yesterday and told her what the plan was, but
Well, now we're all on the same page, so now we all know, because Lisa Davila, she called last night and you already talked to Marletto's. And
yeah,
I'll send you Jim McKay's number too, okay?
yeah, send that to me, and his deal is nothing other than he wants us to do stuff on a non-maintained road. And I'll definitely talk to him, but that's what's going on with that.
Okay.
Well, was there
That
an
that
issue?
road just has to come later, I mean, we're gonna wind up hauling some material up there and putting it on that road, but we don't obviously understand it come a bit later.
Okay,
Did Northwestern Energy work on that road?
What's that?
Did Northwestern Energy work on the road and not get it back the way it should have been?
No, they did, they put a power line across there, they 100% did no harm to it at all. I went and looked at it 2 weeks ago when he was in complaining. And it's just simply the big washout, it's all the rain. You know, they have done, there's nothing there, but it just needs to be bladed, and we're gonna have to put a few loads of gravel on it again. Like we did a couple years ago. You know, it's the same with that, Echo Lake Road. Where they said that we did that blading and it was our problem. That road washed out above where we turn around. I went and took pictures of that as well. And that's nothing to do with us either.
Is that Anaconda Deer Lodge or,
No, it's us, but it's where we turn around and we don't,
but
we don't go up that.
but. Yeah, we just don't go up that. We turn around at the big turnaround there where there's private property off to the right, and. Yeah, we've never got that far. Well, when we bladed that road for the school buses last year. When they were doing that work on the grade. The people up there thought that we worked on the road above that, but we didn't. We cut across and came out above the dam. And so, yeah, we weren't on that road, so that's just Mother Nature.
All right, well, that's about it. We got MDT guys here, so we're gonna go ahead and start talking to him.
Okay.
Thanks,
If
Paul.
you need anything else, I'll be on the phone. Yep, thank you. Bye.
I didn't know they had to replay it.
Well, he's not.
I know they had two. I don't know what third line.
Little miscommunication, is there?
Anyway, come on up. You're next.
Me?
Yep.
All right,
Would you state your name and what?
you bet. My name is Bob Vosen. I'm the district administrator for the Montana Department of Transportation for what's called the Missoula District, which generally Western Montana. And I'm here today to answer questions. I got some project updates that I can provide. So
hey, working on the seat.
Yeah. So. You can go through your update, you can give me questions after that.
time was a little pressing getting here. I knew about our construction projects, obviously. What I didn't know was cattle drive day today.
Yeah.
That's just to make that highway, move up the highway.
Go. I've got this one I'll use. I'll give you. So this is a map that one of my staff puts together. This shows all the projects that are coming up in the county. So the Hall North and South project is currently underway, starting kind of in the bottom, the center of the page there. That's the seal and cover, overlay, some guardrail work they're working on today. Moving, let's go ahead and go starting at the bottom there. Let's go clockwise. So the next one up is the bridge work, which is also taking place on the interstate right now. They're doing a deck rehab on I-90. That project that, like I say, is underway. I'm not sure what the completion of that is. We're also looking at adding some additional guardrail into that project for some additional work. Actually, I misspeak. That's the Bearmouth East and West project, which is tied straight up from there is the Bearmouth East and West, the Millville seal and cover project, and we're adding additional guardrail work into that project. Trying to get what some of the guardrail along the interstate is still original from when it was built in the early 70s. So trying to get it up to standards. Has been overlays put on the road. Plus today's cars are taller than what they were back then. So we've got a higher height that we're trying to get to. And honestly, a lot of those posts are just getting to be in rough shape, and cars and trucks keep bouncing off them. So a lot of the rails are beat up. Off to the kind of the far left on the map is the I-90. That there's a lot of SF-199 MSLA. That's the Missoula High Tension Cable Median Cable Rail Project is what that is. That project has been let and awarded, but we've run into some snags with some of the wildlife agencies or the environmental agencies, Fish and Game, different groups having concerns about putting an additional barrier in the middle of the interstate for wildlife movement, particularly grizzly bears. And that project is actually starts clear back at milepost 96.4 on the interstate, which is 96.4 is the Y. So that's the Highway 93 west of Missoula is actually where that project starts. And it goes all the way to milepost 143, which is, oh, where's that? Well, you can see about Bearmouth is where the end of that project is, that cable rail project. So the whole thing is currently on hold as we try to navigate through that process. Hopefully it gets started. That median cable rail is a project. It's a safety project we've just had throughout western Montana in particular, but the entirety of the I-90 corridor. We continue to have people crossing the median and having head-ons, which just are some horrific crashes when it happens. So our maintenance folks aren't wild about it because it is right now a lot of times when people hit the ditch in the winter time, they spin out and get stuck and they call a tow truck, and it's generally a hassle, but not a major ordeal. This way it'll keep those people that are going fast enough to get through the snow and into the other lane from impacting other cars. But every time somebody hits the ditch now, it means our maintenance folks are going to have some work to do. So it's an investment in many ways, but anything we can be doing to improve the safety out there. And like I said, those head-on crashes are obviously some of the most horrific we have. Moving across to the right, the Bear Gulch is another bridge deck rehab project that's on the off system. That's the bridge over the river right at Bear Gulch. That's scheduled for 2025. That's a bridge funded project, so I don't have all the details on it necessarily, but it's still on the books to be replaced in 2025. And let's see, we talked about the chip seal, the Drummond East and West project. And then the Gen Safety improvements is the wildlife fencing project that we're hoping to get open to let next year, but that is also tied into that same discussion with the median cable rail and wildlife connectivity. And there's been some changes in leadership in a few different organizations, so we were headed all marching in the same direction, and then some people had some differences of different thoughts. So we definitely are still going forward with the GENS project. We're going to be looking at partnering with some of the NGOs and non-government organizations that are interested in enhancing wildlife crossings. There's been discussions all over in western Montana about trying to enhance crossings. Working on Highway 93, for example, in the area of Nine Pipes, Allentown area there. There's a really high desire to build a second animal overpass instead of trying to get critters to go under the highway, carry them over the top. They are more effective, but they're a lot more expensive as well. There's the same thing, the discussion is a large elk herd on Highway 93 south of Lolo area that crosses back and forth. So there's another group that's interested in the same thing there. We've got a lot of fishing advocates, trying to connect a lot of our culverts. Have a pretty good, where the outlet end is, creates a pretty good waterfall. So trying to figure out how to make some fish ladders or what we can do. And turns out that culverts aren't great for fish. They don't like swimming up a regular culvert. The water flow is localized, makes it challenging for them. So they, some box culverts with a gravel bottom in them that's more natural, gives them a resting spot. Some of our culverts do get pretty darn long, we're going under the interstate and the frontage, or a lot of times it's in places we have a culvert that starts under the north frontage road, goes under both lanes of the interstate, the south frontage road and the railroad tracks. It's one long culvert. So it's a long ways for it just to be straight. So trying to help with that too. So that's kind of the projects we have in the county in 3 minutes or less or whatever that took me, I guess. So any other kind of here to go in the direction you guys have?
One thing on you're talking about the grizzly bears in your median.
Yep.
That's cable.
Yeah, it's a cable rail.
Can't the bears get under it or over the tree or whatever? I mean, they're pretty agile.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thought, honestly. I don't profess to be a grizzly bear expert, but it really caught us off guard because already we have there's a frontage road on the north side that has 2 fences, and then there's a frontage road on the south side that has fences, and then there's another railroad fence. I think what it does, what the concern with the grizzly isn't so much that it stops it from being able to get over it, but it maybe they're in the middle of the highest speed area and they encounter something else. If they decide they don't want to cross at that location, they go back, it's increasing the chances of hits is the concern, because they've got a really surprised me. I can't remember the bear's number. They had them collared and they had the tracking device on it. And that bear made like 78 attempts where he came to part of that corridor. You can't get zoomed in. I couldn't get zoomed in enough to see where he turned around, but he didn't cross the travel corridor. He went into it and then went back away and came into it. And that was over the period of like 3 months or something that he wanted. It was pretty apparent that he or she, I don't remember whether it was male or female, wanted to go from the north side to the south side. So, it seemed weird to me, but I'm not going to argue with the fact they've got this tracking map of this bear coming to the interstate and then turning and going around. And it finally did get across. But there was something that was making him say, I want to go there, but nope, not going to. I don't know if it was high traffic volume that scared him off, or if it was the fence or the guardrail or what they've encountered. I mean, I have seen grizzlies climb guardrail myself. We put a new run guardrail up. I was the project inspector on it. So there has never been guardrail in this stretch, and I was working the project, and this bear, it was the funniest thing. One day it would cross this way, the next day it would cross this way. And you could almost set your clock by the time this bear would cross the highway back and forth. I watched it for about 2 months. And then we put the guardrail up and the bear came up and she got to the guardrail, walked up and down it a little bit, finally got to a post and just climbed over the top, put her front paws up on the rail, back claws into the post and actually stood on top of the post, jumped down. She got to the center line, turned around and looked at that guardrail and looked up and down like, where the hell did that come from? You can just see it. And then on her way she went. The next day she came back just right on the top like it. I mean, she adapted to it, but it was hilarious just the look on her face, the way she just looked at that. So there is something to traffic. I have seen it will impact what they do. Whether or not the cable rail has a major impact, I'm struggling with it a little bit, but I'm not a bear expert, so.
My personal opinion, 80 miles an hour is too fast. I think the Bears probably agree with me.
You're right, yeah, hard to
For that,
judge out,
for that stretch,
so.
it's just,
Is there more coming in Hall or is that about done?
I think Hall is about done out there. I was gonna touch base with my construction engineer this morning and he left early, and between the two of us, we seem to be unable to get into cell coverage at the same time today. I had a great opportunity to sit there and make phone calls, but the cattle drive was in a dead spot where I had no coverage, so.
The,
Anything else? Or,
oh, we're gonna talk about the grade up here.
yeah, you might as well.
Yeah, so I know there's concerns about the grade and the rock fall mitigation work that we did, and I spoke with our geotech staff. They sent me a kind of a brief report here. And so we had, in 2017, there was a ramp study done, which is a rockfall asset management program report developed. And so geotechs view rockfall areas in excellent, good, fair, and poor, I think are the 4 rankings. And it's currently in fair condition up there. It takes from milepost 27 to milepost 27.8 to 29.9, so that 2.1 miles. To get it to a good condition was going to cost about $22 to $25 million. From that study that was done in 2017, so that's adjusted slightly for inflation, but I don't think they have the last 2 years worth of inflationary costs, because it was 18 million in 2017. So my experience, we're probably getting closer to 30 million to do that work, which was a pile of money, and it gets it to the good condition. The part that makes it really challenging though is they feel that good condition, to try to maintain that highly degradable slope in a good condition, would be a pretty short term that it would stay in that condition. A couple years maybe, and it would be back to a fair condition. So, and then you'd be back in there, the continual erosion taking place. So what we did was got up there, took out the larger rocks, the most dangerous rocks, to keep it in that fair condition. It had gotten to 4. And I, again, am not a geotech expert. I believe one of you went out in the field with our geotech. And so it's trying to balance risk and cost is what it all boils down to. And the one note that they have here is that the rock slopes are disproportionately visually threatening. Deaths from rockfall are very rare. Obviously, we do everything we can to reduce all deaths to 0. But we've got a lot of other, that's safety funding that we're used to. That we've got a lot of other areas where our benefit cost ratio is a lot higher. So we want to obviously take care of these large areas that are dangerous and have a risk of closing the road. That, but what we have to do is balance that cost benefit ratio to, if we're installing guardrail in places to keep people from running off the road, or places from people having head-on. So we're identifying our highest risk areas and what the cost is to address those. It's all coming out of that same pool of money, and that's where we are up there. The other thing that I asked about was, the involvement to get that to that good state, and he said it would be many months of closures like what we experienced last year. For the few weeks when we had closures, it would be a multiple season project to get it to there. So that high level of impact also is, we have to weigh in there as well.
Yeah, we're kind of disappointed, as I was, that they got done, and then I drive up there, I see this big pole sitting, looks like it was ready to go. And they said they couldn't move it by hand, and I think they might have tried something else, moved that thing forward, because it came down during the winter sometime. And, you know, it didn't take a rocket scientist to think, well, that's not good.
Right. Yeah, and I haven't reviewed it with them. The one thing that I did ask about, we've got a term contract with a company called, I got their name. Huh. It's in this report. I can't think of landslide experts or landslide something is the name of them. And landslide technology, which are some of the most respected firms. We're gonna look at having them come back out, give us, I mean, the study was done in 2017. We're gonna look at what their schedule looks like, what they'll charge us to come out, review that again. See if there's something that we missed. Yeah, I can get you a copy of this.
Yeah, it looks like there's a huge slab that's separating. Did you look at that with them? Anyone else? Okay, so having them look at it would be.
Yeah, so we're gonna get them to come up, identify. I mean, it's an area where we're gonna have continual work, but it's like I say, it's a matter of addressing. You know, there's a couple different types of risks as well, and I'll tell you, in Western Montana, we've got about 40 of these locations. We're continually working. We have crews working up on Highway 2 right now by Kootenai Falls doing the same thing, and it's just trying to stay ahead of the slide areas. There's one on Highway 93 that I drive by all the time coming between Missoula and Kalispell as well. So it's trying to figure out the right investment to address the risk.
Okay, anything else?
That proposed interchange on I-90, is that way off?
That's a ways off. We've got the feasibility study done. We've got the request into FHWA. The one challenge with that is we can't build it as a full interchange. I think it's gonna be we talked about a 2-legged interchange. We may be able to get it as a 3-legged interchange, but since it's not a full 4-legged interchange, there's some extra steps we have to go through. And then figure out how we're gonna fund the darn thing. One thing that we could explore, I'd love to do is maybe if we could get, we've got a staff, there's a lot of discretionary funds, competitive grants available through the new IIJA bill, the federal highway funding bill. But what we found is that they really don't like to give money to state DOTs. They like to give it to cities and counties. So what I'd like to do when we get the green light to go ahead where we can start designing the project. MDT has staff of grant writers, but would like to work in partner with you guys and probably have you submit the grant application for the project. And we've done this with Missoula, we've done it with the city of Kalispell. We're awarded a grant through working in partnership with CSKT, where you receive the grant and serve kind of as a pass-through. We'll administer the project and stuff and get it built. But anything we can do to work together to find these grants and you know, the support of the local community seems to be a very highly scored part of those grant applications. In Montana, they just announced a bunch of new RAISE grants. RAISE replaced Build, which replaced Tiger. It's the same, but there's a lot of other grants. But Montana did very well in this last round of RAISE grants. There's several projects awarded RAISE grants just recently. I haven't seen the full list, but I know there's 2 of them in my district that were successful. So the money's out there. It is competitive, but I think if we get our name on the list, start working towards it, that's a good thing. And anytime that, you know, multiple government agencies are showing they're working together, I think that's one of the necessities to get there. So more to come on that. I'll probably, as we get going forward with that, I'll have Joan schedule us for another meeting, get things set up.
Communication was kind of what's.
Yep, yep.
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
No, I think we're good now.
All right,
Yes, we got your info to get a hold of you.
yep, and you've got Joan's contact info. I'm,
Yeah.
you bet.
Commissioner's office,
Billy,
No,
no. Who's this?
hello,
Hello, this is the commissioner's
Hello.
office.
this is Botchadar, is this Blanche?
Yes, it is.
we
You
have,
probably know why I'm calling. Just like everybody else in the world about this road up around the lake, is there scheduled time to get those massive potholes filled in?
yes,
Okay, so we have on the agenda, some discussion.
yeah, it's coming up here in just a little bit. We already have somebody in here with the MDT on something else, so can you give us about 10 minutes to call back?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Yeah, bye.
Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, the rain has not been good to all of our construction projects, holy cow. It either delays them or turns anything we have into dirt has turned into a pretty muddy mess.
Righty, is there any other comments for him?
All right, well,
Yeah, just keep it. Copy
yeah, and I'll send this one into you, the email into you. I'll have Joan get it to you later today. Do you want the electronic copy of this? Is there interest in that? All right, I'll have her send both of those to you. So, and if you need anything, like I say, call Joan, because she's usually close to her desk and in coverage, and who knows where I'm at any given moment. So then that's the quickest way to get back in touch. So thank you all very much. It was nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's, yeah, not bad. That really would. How are you? Good. Good morning. It's all Vicky.
I emailed them that same day now, but I'll give it a call here. All right. Thanks. The Durkin sent their deal and just needs signed by the.
Oh, Louise.
Doesn't need on the agenda. And I can get.
It's on a second pass there, I was just at. Anthony.
Warrants are sitting there doing.
And we'll start getting the airport. Happy.
Mike Foley, every, yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to Mickey Sanders. Come on up. Can you state your name?
Mickey Sanders. Chicopee Heights, Georgetown.
See if you want.
Anyway, nice to see you guys again. Same stuff, different day. One of the concerns that we had initially was cattle guard. The one closest to the dam. I got a hold of Paul. He sent some guys out. There was a piece of sticking up 8 inches. So the hazard, definite hazard. And I drove by it a week and nobody did anything about it, so I called Paul and the next day. Came by and there was a crew out there.
grinding, welding, fixed it. My concern is they did a nice job. But 6 inches beyond where they were working, there's another piece getting ready to break. And on the approach from the south of the cattle guard, there's a piece this big gone. So that when you first hit the approach, you drop into a little hit and then you hit the cattle guard instead of a gradual thing. So they didn't look, obviously, I can't do anything about that. But it's something that please address it. The other thing, you guys, I don't know if you ever go to Georgia Town Lake, I don't think you do, one of you probably do.
Just up there.
Man, I've done quite a bit.
But,
I can't believe it's never come up.
hey, I'll tell you what. Yes, what's happened, you can't do anything about the approach to from the dam until we get to McLean's property, that's when it becomes Granite County. Okay, so if you guys can talk to folks in Anaconda, because that is navigating that to get to that is bad enough, but when we get onto into Granite County, what's 1,700 square miles of this or something there. That when we get into Granite County, people now are dodging. And so when you're dodging or they're dodging and you come together, there's all kinds of action that goes on in everybody's inbox, trying to knock the front ends out of it. I mean, that was major. And a lot of those potholes, 4 to 6 inches deep. And they're this big around, so fire fits in them really well. And so, there's gonna be people destroying stuff more and more. And then farther on, I talked to Paul about where the Georgetown Lake Road meets Arrowhead Drive. It's chipping off. And with all the construction coming, that's been going on, with the internet and all that stuff. I mean, that driveway is doubled in width. And we're this far out into the road right now. And you jump up onto the road. I mean, I can't do anything about that. We can take care of our end of it, or try to, but.
I told him to call in.
Commissioner's office,
Hello,
hello,
this is Paul again.
okay. You're on the line.
They had some questions for you. Mickey Sanders is sitting here.
Okay,
Hey, Paul, like this, I'm gonna repeat this for these guys. Those guys that came out and fixed the cattle guard did a really nice job. But 6 or 8 inches from where they were working, there's another piece of the cattle guard breaking. That they could have patched it while they were there. And then just beyond that, on the south approach to that cattle guard, there's a piece of the bar missing. And it's the first piece of the bar of the cattle guard that you hit. And it's gone. And so people are taking a straight hit at the cattle guard.
I've got new cattle guards ordered to replace those.
Good, thank you very much. That remedy.
Yeah, they're just super bad. You just weld, they just won't hold it. They're so fatigued, they keep breaking in another spot.
How long do you think those things it'll take for delivery and installation?
Inside of 2 weeks.
Good, thank you. I can pass that on.
Yeah,
The other thing, the condition of the roads, period. The used to be called the Jock Corps Road, but then the Georgetown Lake Road and then down below the Lakeshore Road are trashed, and it's interesting to me. I know that someone talks to Paul, I think, and they said, well, you can't grade mud, that's true. But there hasn't been mud for a while. They're able to work up on the East Fork Road. Been working up there for a week. All the stuff in, working. I don't know who's paying for that. Is that a county?
there's a whole different climate between East Fork Road and Georgetown Lake Road.
Okay,
The elevation's different, they get twice the sun, Georgetown Lake is twice as wet.
okay,
But we will have a blade there tomorrow morning.
good, because the 1st of July, it's gonna get really crowded up there.
Yeah, I was up there Saturday and those potholes had water in them. So,
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
No, I understand
it was
what
pretty
you're saying.
wet Saturday and then it rained.
but
like
they're
40.
dry, they're dry today and they're dry yesterday, so if they're going out tomorrow, that's gonna be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a blade at Georgetown Lake 3 different occasions. And we've had to pull out because we can't do anything. And, like I say, we're gonna have another one there tomorrow and. You know, if it storms like it's supposed to tonight, we won't be able to do anything up there tomorrow.
I understand that. The one thing about that Georgetown Lake right there at that end of the lake, it gets wider. Georgetown Lake Road is getting wider and wider as people go around. The stuff, I mean, they can't go into the meadow and they're pretty soon they're gonna be going into the little slough next to the lake, trying to get around that stuff.
Let him finish.
You know, that water bleeds in there on that Eccleston Bay side and. The lake is so damn full. That's just continuously wet there. But. You know, there's nothing we can do until it's dry, so we can play it, but we will be there tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Another question that I have is who installed the speed bumps there on the Lake Shore Road, just down from Georgetown Lake Road?
Yeah,
Installed
Yeah,
them, the county
the
did.
county. Well, I'm representing 47 landowners, property owners. Now, it's my understanding that you guys got 37 letters and you fixed that. When you get down to the two docks, Forster's dock and X dock. People come through that area at 40 and 50 miles an hour and there's crowds there. In the summer. And if you can install speed bumps one place to slow traffic down. For a segment of the neighborhood. I think you could do the same thing or some kind of traffic control or some damn thing. Because it gets crazy down. And you know, the other side of that. I haven't seen a police officer out there in the last 6 years.
I saw one. going up
I
this-
can edit it.
Well, that's good. Maybe he was going by to look at your place, but I haven't.
No,
seen
no,
one.
up at the lake, up at your place.
I haven't seen.
No, I saw him up there.
I missed it.
Saturday.
Good. That's, well, that'll be the first time in 6 years that I'm aware of that one's been there.
Well, one thing we are doing to, help prevent that is, we're changing the speed limit signs and putting them back where they're supposed to be. Because the speed limit is 25 miles an hour, and then the sheriff will be up there patrolling, and he will write tickets.
Good.
Right now, there's so many 15-mile-an-hour signs that are illegal. We're taking all those down as soon as the road's bladed and replacing them with 25-mile-an-hour signs. And then he can write a ticket that'll actually stand up.
Okay.
Then we'll have complaints about getting the local speed.
Correct.
That's what it usually
Hey,
happens.
no matter what you do, you're gonna be wrong. You guys know that.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, just, you gotta deal with it. And you gotta educate all of them.
Guy wants the road better and then it's too fast.
Oh, exactly.
You know, it's just, it never ends.
So on the speed
I got it.
bumps, how many speed bumps, Paul, did we put up?
Two,
2?
Well, there's
Or,
four on each side.
but they're too narrow.
Hey, you gotta wait till we got people talking. If you want, I'll give you a second here.
Two sections make one speed. So there's one here, then there's one.
So,
And you said what I was gonna say.
yeah,
They're going around the speed bumps now.
Yeah.
You know, they're going into people's private property around the damn speed bumps.
we can't control that.
No, I know you can't. I don't expect you to. It's just a comment. But. You know, one of the things that's happening here is. We all have property here. And we know it's happening in Texas. I mean, it's gonna go through the roof. And there's several problems that come with that. There's more and more people. Living at the lake, whereas. And people are building great homes out there. And one of the problems is septic disposal. My neighbor had a
not in the house.
Oh, his septic is, my neighbor had
I
his,
couldn't very well off, I didn't know that.
All right.
my neighbor had a septic tank pump. Cost me $500 because they had to haul the effluent to Helena. We've got 1,700
Got to talk to
square miles.
talk to DEQ about it. We've had meetings on this and there's nothing we can do. DEQ stepped in and took that over and they're the ones that are making them haul it away. You know,
Well, we don't have a facility. I know we don't have a facility. I mean, the way this county is growing. Gonna have to have something because I mean, it's getting stupid.
where we're gonna put it.
I don't have any
They
idea.
don't even let you put it in the fields now. They were gonna let you put it in the fields and they've changed that now. The legislature changed that. I mean, that. Nothing you can do about that.
It was Anaconda, Deer Lodge County was allowing it
Yeah,
there, but
they
they
shut that down.
shut that
Well,
down.
But what's happening here, we're growing like crazy.
So didn't they clean out the ponds down here last year? In Phillipsburg,
Yeah, there was some, there was.
so
a
why
part-
can't we dump it in here now?
I don't know, you can't, I had to have my.
Yeah, that's city.
It's city, yeah.
Huh?
It's city.
Yeah, no, I mean, they could pay the city, couldn't they?
I don't think they'll accept it. I had to have
I
mine.
think they're worried about being too full already. That's why they had to punch that out.
They are putting an aerated lagoon in, but yeah, I don't think they'd be able to accept it. Be a different.
But it's no different when they pump anybody's septic tank, it gets hauled away and you pay.
Is there any other public comment? We got a bunch of people here.
Yeah,
Are you got more?
the only thing is I'm curious, I'm very curious about what percentage of our tax money goes out to the lake. I'm really, it seems like you would know. Based on work orders and all that sort of thing. What ends up happening out there.
When you talk that, there's not sections.
Yeah, but there's work orders. I'm sure if, when Paul sent people to take care of the cattle guard. There's a work order for that. And with the computer stuff, you can track work orders and people do it all over the world. I mean, we can't do it here to find out where the money's being spent in this county. I mean, our taxes are going up in this county, God knows how much. But there's gonna be a hell of a lot of taxes coming into this county, I know, through the state. Oh, I know how, or I understand how it works, I don't know how it works. But we're paying a huge chunk. And we're not getting any services. I mean, when we have to come in here every year and talk about roads. And we have to, like I had complaints about snow plowing this winter. That we were saying that Mr. Hinkle's road was plowed all the time. And up to the drift and everything else, it was 6, 7, 8 inches.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about you. I was told
I
that.
got two plow trucks every single day go to Georgetown Lake. There's a grader stationed at Georgetown. The wind, there's so much work done at Georgetown Lake Road all winter long. For you to say that you're not taking care of it, that's bullshit.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, then I guess all the people that have been talking to me are lying to.
We're not gonna get into this.
Somebody else just-
No, if you're gonna swear,
We come in here with names.
No, we're stopping this.
if this guy's gonna swear at me, that's his prerogative. I'm carrying a message. And if you wanna shoot the messenger.
I don't care what other people are saying. They can come in here and say it. So don't go telling me that other people saying this, other people saying that,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
And I can go back in history and I can give you a big history on what went on up at Georgetown Lake and what went on at Eastwood. When you leave it at that right now.
I'd like to hear the history.
We're not gonna get into that big.
All right, so anyway,
No, I'm talking now.
oh, thank you.
So we're gonna take some public comment. There's people here that need to speak up and then you're done for a little bit.
I'm done. I'll see you guys again. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
So, come up, state your name.
John Monaco. I live at Georgetown Lake. I live up there. On the weekends, we don't get
plowing. We went 5 days with no plows up there. I live up there year round. And there's no, on the weekend, there's no plowing up there from the county at all. We plow down to the county roads and there's no plowing. The cars are unable to go through there and stuff like that. And I'm there every day, so I know what it is. It's not, but the county road, it was hard for my wife to get to work some days because the county road wasn't plowed. She could get down to the county road because we plowed it. But then after that, it's not plowed, and if the Eccleston where you're talking because the water comes down, understandably. Put some culverts across the road there, that'd end that soft spot because the water's going over the top. Put some culverts in, do some preventive maintenance on the road, in that. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot of stuff getting done up there at all. I mean, he can talk about saying he sends a plow up there. He doesn't send one up there every day. And there's not a grader up there all the time either.
Well, sometimes they don't know that it snows. That's the same thing on the East Fork.
Well, that's why they send a guy.
Sometimes they don't go out to the East Fork. And my wife, when she was working, she was calling into the county shop constantly. Because it wouldn't snow in here, but it was snowing out there or it was drifting out there. Okay, and the same thing with your road up there.
I understand that.
So you gotta call, you gotta have communication. And there's a lot of times that we don't get plowed, especially on the weekends.
But
We don't have a crew that works on the weekends, only on emergencies.
why don't you have a crew on the weekend? I mean, that's
Well,
part of
because-
the time that there's people living up there. Let me finish your question. Go ahead, Paul.
We don't have enough men to work during the week, let alone on the weekends. And they do very well by working on weekends during emergency times. And if people can't get through 6 inches of snow, I don't know what to say because how, they can't work 7 days a week.
Yeah, why can't you divide their shifts up in the, like the state does, divide their shifts up during the summer?
There's only 4 people on the crew right now, only 4 people, okay? So when they put ads out to hire more people, there's one that's out right now due to health. So you can't take 4 people and the levy for the road is completely different than the county levy. The levy for the road is less than what the countywide levy is. So the money is spent accordingly and it's spent throughout the county. It's not sectioned here where this gets more work and this one doesn't get any. I mean, it goes countywide for that road. So what you're saying, understandably, you're upset, but what you're saying is not feasible to take 4 people and try to stretch them 7 days of work a week working right now at this point. So that right there is kind of a moot statement that you can't say we'll put them on weekends because there's just not the money for it.
So couldn't you hire temporary people to do weekend jobs?
We've had ads in the paper forever just to try to find people. I mean, you can't get, nobody wants to work. Looking if you want a job.
I gotta have
Okay, I'm just telling you, the weekend.
I mean, I'm just saying that, there's some preventive things that can be done ahead of time to prevent a lot of the road getting rough and stuff like that too, and I mean, it's just. There's some things that need to be addressed, like he's saying it's 6 inches of snow. What about if there's an ambulance service that has to go up there to, that's where, we went 5 days with nobody plowing anything up there when we had all this stuff. And I understand, you're doing it. They can make a loop up there or, or have somebody from up there say, hey, we got snow. I mean, they get the ski report from the Discovery, they get 8 inches of snow up there. Okay, Georgetown Lake's probably got at least 8 inches of snow. You know what I'm saying is that there's a lot of opportunities for people to view things and stuff like that. There's more ways to, they got the camera up at the lake at Seven Gables. You could look at that camera the highway department camera and say, hey, it's snowing up there quite a bit.
But that's not the only place they plow either. We have other places too.
Well, I understand that
I
too.
do too. I mean,
But
I'm not-
he was just saying that, well, we didn't get snow down here, but we got snow up there. Well, understand, but you can find out how much snow is up there at a time.
We're gonna keep moving here. I think there's another comment. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kayla Sanders, and I just want to make you guys aware of Rock Creek right now and how bumpy it is, but I just am wondering if maybe if you, I know you're short-staffed, but if you could pencil it in to maybe do just a deeper scrape, maybe some new gravel, maybe, you know, to fix it and maybe a little longer term this time. It's just really nasty, really nasty. So anyway, that's it. I understand short-staffed, so anyway. Thanks.
To answer that question, once we get on our blading, we plan on putting a bunch of gravel down at several different locations. That's why we crush a bunch of material. And after the roads are bladed, we're gonna go back and put a bunch of gravel on different places. And that's one of them.
Thanks, Paul.
Anybody else?
Can I
Oh, go
just
ahead.
a question? Okay, this is unusually wet,
Yeah,
and it used to be it was, but this is an unusually wet spring and beginning of summer. And so you're not able to get out there if it's wet. Am I understanding? Is this correct?
Yeah.
So everybody
Yeah.
wants it done and everybody wants it done now, understandably. And we can only go where we can go at this time. It's not that your feelings are felt truly. And it's my feelings toward you stating that the lake doesn't get what they deserve. I don't feel that's correct. I think that we go countywide and try to look at all the roads. And that's just my statement here, understanding how you're feeling, but it is an unusually wet spring and beginning of the summer, and we are short-staffed, truly short-staffed. We're missing 2 people and it's out there and no response, so.
One of the things like that, you're saying is, you know, when you hire these guys, a lot of these guys have never ran a blade. So you gotta look at that too. I mean, we got like 3 guys that can run blade right now, one of them out.
Yeah, and that's one thing that maybe we need to look at and get more training for the road crew to make sure they all can run the blade. This
It's
is,
a special person.
Take the talent, it's a talent.
The thing is, with that being said, we're so short of people. The people that we have are so busy doing what they can do, they have no time to do anything else anyway. And we're a solid 45 days behind from where we were last year on our work. And that there's nothing we can do about it. And if the rain doesn't quit, we're gonna be 60 days behind. We're doing all we can do.
Any other public comment before we move on?
I got one question.
State your name so everybody knows.
Dan Villa. I live on Lake Shore. What happened to that grant with the Forest Service and $50,000 from the county?
Which grant was that?
Well, it wasn't a grant. Forest Service, if the county put in $50,000. The Forest Service.
The flap grant.
Federal highway project, and it was put on hold, remember, they got a hold of.
Last year,
And,
I pulled the minutes this morning because Cameron called me.
oh, okay, so. you know
So
more
they
about
came in last year because due to the programs had changed. And due to the increase in cost, the match the county had put forth was going to change dramatically. So the money the county had put forth for match was going to increase from what they had already put forward to upwards of $400,000. So they could withdraw and reapply, which is what the county decided to withdraw at the time in partnership with Forest Service. And to look at reapplying, and we have not reapplied at this time.
So you're saying it's $400,000 now?
They said the match would
Would be
be,
400,000.
would be upwards, up to $400,000. They didn't have an exact number, but with inflationary costs. That was the
range at least that was recorded in the minutes.
Okay, well, I guess I didn't want to bring this up, but I guess I have to now. So. East Fork Road. When you first took office, you put quite a sum of money in for gravel. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, first year got gravel. Then the snow fence, probably needed, but I'm just saying, it's there. Then milling the next year. And now you have trucks up there hauling, milling it again, all on the East Fork Road. Now those trucks.
You know how much them mailings save?
Wait a minute, wait,
Wait.
Paul, can you wait till his statement is over, please?
Oh, I thought it-
I'm not saying anything about that, but what I'm saying is. It's a lot of money. I mean, it could be saving a lot of money, it could not be saving, I don't know, but I'm just saying, there's a heck of a lot of money. Being put on one road, because those trucks now. Paul, you can probably correct me if I'm wrong with the number of trucks up there. It's probably running $9,000-10,000 per day to run that. So, I don't know how many days you've been up there. But if you add all that up, that is one chunk of money for one road.
I never heard anybody complain when we did, a few miles up at Georgetown Lake and chip sealed it.
Paul, I'm not complaining.
I'll let you finish.
Okay,
Go ahead, Paul. We're gonna move on pretty quick here.
I never heard one person complain when we did all that work at Georgetown Lake. It's just every time we do something anywhere else, they're the first people to complain. And I feel like they complain because they have $1 million homes and they think they need special treatment, but we're doing the best we can for what we've got.
Hey, you're done.
thank you.
We're done. We're not gonna get in a very big argument.
No, I don't want to be in an argument, I'm just saying. I mean. It's a lot of money on one road. And I appreciate everything that's being done, trust me, my wife and I, she drives out her. But it just seems like. I guess the county has so many roads that I understand your short. I understand Paul does what he can.
Okay,
It seems like a lot of money in one spot.
if I can explain this
That would be great.
for you
Yeah,
with the East Fork Road.
okay.
There was budget set aside to finish the millings, and there was milling set aside. To do that, and that's coming out of. I'm not sure if we decided that Pilt was gonna. Anyway, that's to finish that, because they had the millings to do it. That's why that is happening, and
Understand.
it's completely different from the regular maintenance.
No,
on-
my main question was the $50,000
Yeah.
to 400. That's what I got
Yeah.
asked. That's all I
Yeah.
needed to know.
Yeah, and that was put on hold to
We could
reapply,
To reapply,
to
okay,
get it hopefully in the future.
that's all I needed to know. Okay, thanks.
All right.
Hey, give me a
Thanks,
call,
Paul.
hey, give me a call sometime.
I will.
Do it.
Okay. Yeah, hey, Paul,
Yeah.
thanks for what you do.
You have an online comment
Yep.
when you're done in the room.
Okay, so anybody else, otherwise we're gonna move on. What's that?
Someone online.
Mhm. You have a
Go
lane.
ahead, Elena.
Thank you. This will be a quick comment, but I know you have a need for employees. But I seem to recall there was a good neighbor policy. Is that still in effect? Because I think it was if a person had a problem and they couldn't get out to give a call. I remember something about it. I'm just wondering if that's still in effect. The good
Yes,
neighbor policy.
That's a good point, Elena. And yeah, we do have that. So if there's a bunch of snow up there, up the lake or whenever, wherever, and there's an emergency, yeah, get hold of the 911, have them call the county. And if it's, like a blizzard or whatever, you can't get in there. Yeah, the good neighbor policy.
yeah, we're still doing.
Yeah, that would apply more to private lane potentially, but yeah, because the county road wouldn't be part of the good neighbor. But if there's an emergency, then call it in.
That answer that?
Oh, wait, I'm taking it, hold on. Hang on.
Did that answer your question?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull that up because I think it had something more to do to call the supervisor. But I think it's still on file somewhere, but I just was wondering if it's still in effect. It has, I don't think it had anything to do with 911, but I don't know. But it's
Go through
interesting to check. Thank you.
They call the sheriff's office and then they call Paul.
And a lot of people just call me directly.
Okay, well, we're gonna move on. We're getting behind here. So is there anything else? Wait. Alrighty, we're moving into the damn tender report. Thanks, Paul.
You bet, we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Is that the close down there? We're sitting at 6429.51, 0.212 inches above full pool. 70, he said 70, like 3 is coming out. Seems to be holding. What's your thought?
I've been thinking about this. It's gonna get hot and dry, but it might rain next couple of days. And that rain, and like I was telling you before, we got 6 inches or 6/10 of an inch of rain on Sunday. And the lake went up 300. I mean, just, we were down below full pool. 0.49, and I got 6 inch, or 0.6 and lake might have got more, but it went up that much. So my point is, if we keep that level of the lake right at the spillway level, it's almost impossible for it not to go over. And then the people are saying, well, if you go over, then you're trespassing on the other people's property, because the legal line is 0.5, 29.5. So I don't know, so I'm saying for this week, of course, we gotta do it for 2 weeks actually. But anyway, stay where we're at until like Thursday, and then drop it down to 50. I don't know.
It's such a hard thing to do, because you don't know what mother nature, that's kind of like these roads. I mean, they're hitting, raining up there, and then you don't get none. You got hit hot down below, and I mean, our roads. So,
Sunday it just poured in my
yeah,
face.
I mean, let's stay there and, we gotta remember that coming this fall, these guys are gonna be in here, they're gonna need water. It's gonna start evaporating, this heating up and taking off the top and the wind, and I mean, we just gotta try to conserve now.
So you're saying try to keep it at full level. Keep it full, and like, what was Mr. Broom saying, you can work with it more. I mean, that is what I remember him saying. With it remaining at 0.5 where it's full.
I'm just saying, something's gotta give here, because it's not gonna ever stay at 0.5. I mean, it can't, and we can sit there and try to adjust it the best we can, but it's not gonna do it. It's either gonna get hot and dry, and then it's gonna go down, we gotta go down to 30. Or we could get a big rainstorm, in Butte 2 weeks ago, they got 4 inches of rain in 1 week. If that would have been a little bit west, that lake would have been totally flooded. I mean, it would have been really bad. And
That's the thing.
what I'm saying is, it's just hard to do that. I mean, we're caught. It's an impossible situation.
I just leave it as what we have it right now, and then, like come Thursday or Friday, really watch, but we gotta remember too, because like Jared, a lot of times he can't get there until next week. We're not bashing him at all. It's, like the other day we called and I called her back and said we can't, because he had something right, and we gotta remember that too, so we can kind of, we just have to have patience. Now we know what, yeah.
But we're still above right now. That's why I say. Try to let out a little bit more, like what we're doing. You know, not increase it, but just hopefully it'll go down.
So keep it at 73
Yeah, until
until,
the rain quits. I don't know, I'm guessing.
They
So-
start playing, or, yeah, go ahead,
so
so,
keeping it at 73. That's kind of keeping it level, or we're just a little bit above.
Mhm.
Watching it daily, it's running a straight line. When you look at the graph, then
Yeah.
you can see where it's running. That's the only thing we can do, right?
That's all we got to go by right now, like that, because. Like Chuck's saying, with the weather coming and that, we're supposed to have rain today and tomorrow, and maybe a little more, but then it's supposed to be up in the 80s, so maybe. We might make it through all week, we'll leave it at 7 and come, it's just, we'll have to play it day by day now.
One of the things, if you're wanting to keep it level, then your motion could be just to let out. Release inflows.
But you can't do that,
You see, we don't,
because you have the inflows, you can do that for the inflows in the creeks. You can't do it for the sky inflow, so you can be doing perfect here, and then the front comes in.
Yeah, I just mean looking off the graph, just adjusting it off.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing you're saying,
Yeah.
but I think the motion could be, if that's what you're wanting to do, I think your motion can just be release. And look at releasing inflows and keeping it the same level on the graph. The graph.
well, that, yeah, the only bad thing there, because that graph sometimes it gets some people who all of a sudden you see.
I know.
Yeah,
So.
you don't look at, you can't look at, you gotta look
I
at the,
guess, no,
the
then that's the
median.
question is gonna come
Yeah.
back, well, why didn't you adjust, because it did this and went this way.
looking at the median, I think.
You know, Scott and I just guessed last week on going down to 75. Can't believe it. I didn't know.
The only thing I'd say, if you say your motion is 75 and then for so many days and then it drops below full pull, then they're needing a temporary modification. Which you can always ask for. If you want some freeboard, you can ask for it, but if you're just wanting to make the motion now that takes care of any issues, I think it's releasing inflows or, yeah.
I think I'd say it that what we're at right now, means that we're sitting right up there, and then if this comes today and tomorrow, then like you said, then let's.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I'll make that motion to stay at the inflows, so that we'll just have to communicate. When the rain
Look
quits,
at them.
when the rain quits, and maybe we'll go down. Oh, we will go down.
Looking at the median USGS graph.
I'll second that.
Any public comment on that? Brad on?
No, not today. I'm-
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries fast. Okay, we're gonna get into this, correspondence from June 12th on Chad Lance Echo Lake Road. A lot of that was already brought up to whether it's worse down, I had to go up right away, because Linda come down and talk to she was so. Anyway, Paul happened to be up at Georgetown anyway, so he went up there and looked, and where that flooded, it looked like that cloudburst that went through it, and it's above where we turned around. I mean, we just turned around that big spot, and it's still.
So where's this out on the Echo Lake one?
Oh, you're right, it's up. I'll explain. You go up and you get up and there's a great big wide turnaround there where. The trucks are always turning around.
You're going up from the dam? You go to,
Yeah,
how far?
that's right. It is.
It's right by that, once you come up and you get to the top and by the dam and you hit that bridge. You're on the highway, it's right there. That the road comes out.
And it there, I mean, it like it built up above and then it broke loose. Yeah, it brought a lot of shit down.
And it ran for weeks.
Yeah.
He flooded for weeks across the highway.
That's a lot of these sprays.
What day was that?
Thursday was it? That I had him.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah, as soon as I raised. Had him when he was there. He
You
took
looked at it?
pictures. Yeah, he's in them in.
Paul said it was washed out above above that was nothing.
We
that
just
someone
turn
worked
around
on, we still
and
don't.
above there is that little creek or that little drainage come down, that come down
Oh,
to there,
okay.
it's what it cleaned it over, I mean, it's. Yeah, but I lost that.
Yeah,
Where's the county line right there?
that's on Anaconda side.
So it'd be Anaconda Deer Lodge
Yeah.
issue then.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Anaconda side.
Get a hold of them. I did talk to the Forest Service and they said up there, they don't know of anything going on up there. They think it's just abnormal rainfalls in the area and the sediment up there is finally breaking loose.
Yeah, there's no construction on that road or anything going on, it just. Constant, it is.
So is that then the Anaconda Deer Lodge's responsibility to, because it definitely was sheet flooding into the lake for weeks.
Yeah, I think letting Anaconda Deer Lodge,
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, to the point where you could hit it and hydroplane just for a second there, right? As you were crossing, there's a lot of water. And it was dirty.
Mm.
And of course, that gets us in trouble if it's.
And on this, it says, but this is kind of, I tried to read.
Well, Chad Lance was concerned with like bacteria and nitrates. And my response back to him was that, I mean, speculation isn't sufficient, you gotta go test that, and so he did respond back and said he would do some sampling. They'd get a boat and do some sampling, because, yeah, I mean, his concerns, yeah, are valid, then you can't speculate on, you gotta go sample it, in my opinion, and test it.
My thought on it, do they really want to start testing that lake?
Oh,
Tell you a little story, I grew up across the road from a 13-mile long lake. A mile wide and up to 320 feet deep. And only part of it was developed, maybe 40%. And they just said on that lake, and they ended up with sewer all the way around.
well, they've done sampling up there before, is my understanding, so to me, it was just to say, is that the higher, where you have more water in it, it's more field, is that causing a issue? I mean, I don't, to me, I just don't think you say it's a concern and without actually getting to the numbers, but I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chad's. The HOA sent in a letter, I mean, this is just my opinion, but. I think this is them, you're seeing them get a paper trail together. To go ask for a height limit, as you know, they've got a low limit. I think they're gonna try to set up to get a height limit too. And it's like. When it's high, it is more, they can say that it potentially is a problem, because you're now getting into people's septic systems. It's better to be low, and I know that it's like, how do you balance that? And it's gonna be one of those things where even though they complain a lot about it, you guys are, you know. I don't know, you're gonna have to let more water out maybe in the early spring when you guys were talking about it. And then they come in and say, no. Yeah, but it's like, we gotta do what's best for us to try to manage it in the spring with the runoff coming. And raising it is way more of a problem for health and safety than it being too high than it being too low. Being too low is aesthetically, they don't like it, recreationally, it upsets them. But when it gets too high, it potentially can do damage to property, and at that point. That's not good. You don't want to get to the point where property damage is ever occurring.
One thing, I do agree with their points that there's a project area and you're supposed to reasonably stay in that, but when there's impossibility, if you're supposed to be within 1 foot of full pool into May, and then you get tremendous amount of
Rain.
moisture runoff, yeah, like, when was that, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? I think
Yeah.
what year that was impossible then. This year, it potentially would have been requesting some temporary modifications to go along with what Todd Blythe was saying. Because you had homeowners here end of April, early May saying, let out the least possible.
Yeah.
Thinking, potentially looking if it gets dry, then there's gonna be issues, but Todd Blythe's report really did. I think he predicted it pretty well.
The worst thing too is, when they put in them, septics and that, that was.
They're-
That was,
They're close, they're really close.
now if they wanted as a recreation, but yet, then they're worried if they like you said, like to have it up there so they can get in and out of the dock, but yet now it's hitting the septics. How do you make them happy?
Well, that's the thing, you're not gonna make them happy. You're not gonna make them happy, but up to two, bad recreation is better than potential nitrates going into your lake, sewage going into your lakes, and property damage. So,
It's big enough there.
Well, another,
I think we're gonna try to get it within 4 to 6 inches of full, call it full, and then you got something to play with. Unless there's a drought, like next year, El Nino would set up, and then we could see it just drier than heck and all winter and whatever, then we could do it. But on a normal year, I think we should be not trying to get that 0.5 level. You see what I'm saying? We can't.
well,
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 that's what they
that-
were saying in the
but
spring.
that's what the FERC order is
Yeah,
basically requiring. So I think the way to handle it is looking at Todd Blythe's reports in April and May. And going along with that, and if it's gonna be a temporary modification, request that. If it's denied by the agencies, then it's not on the county.
That's good, except Todd Blythe didn't know we were gonna get 6+ inches of rain in May.
yeah.
But he was even off of his percentage of. Based on snowpack and what the average precipitation was in April, he was projecting like 80 inflows in May, so it was above, even above that, right?
General, yeah,
Because they were above, when they're above normal, you can't predict it.
Either way, we'd be in the same position right now, whether we follow Todd's, because we'd have filled the lake.
Yeah.
And we filled the lake anyway.
You're right, there still would have, it wouldn't have been as long, probably having it, but you're right, it still would have been.
Yeah,
dry.
you're gonna have years where you just can't predict the rain, but.
So how to answer Chad's, I mean, again, and on Chad's thing, how do you want us to answer it? And just put back to anything.
Well, he responded back and said you do sampling, so water sampling and testing. So if you don't want him to do that, I mean, I don't think the commission should come down and say, don't do it. I mean, that it needs done, and he has authority to do it anyway.
Later, that should be through back at the people, it's in them people are sitting up and they start, they drill wells and stuff, that are really, I understand. Cause this could open a big.
But I think there's already a baseline though, because I think they've been, I've seen some things from, it's been a while since I've seen the numbers.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell them not to test it. I'm just saying, be careful
Yeah.
what you wish for.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I just let them, if they want to go test it, they can.
Yeah.
Go for
Well, it'd be
that.
Chad Lyon, it'd be the test, water sampling would be under his direction, and then it would be turned into
But what would that do? Because then they'd have to prove that the high water caused it. And there's, 2 inches of high water over 3 weeks.
I'm with you, I'm not an expert, but I don't think it impacted the bacteria and nitrates, but it's good to know, I mean, good to know.
Yeah, if anything, right now it should be slightly diluted.
Um,
Water in it,
Bless you.
but
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, we're
I
gonna
don't
go
wanna-
ahead and move on there. I mean, if they wanna do it, let them do it, and let him. Then we'll
So-
just see what, go ahead, Lance.
this is his concerns, and then he's going to then check,
do some water sampling, they get a
water
boat and do some water sampling and have it tested.
because his concern came to him from the homeowners association. And I think that where the commission has anything, if anything to do is next year, when you guys get your report from your guys saying, hey, we think you better be letting some out. And the homeowners come in saying, no, don't let me, you can then use this letter and say, hey, we've got reason,
to feel like we need to let it out.
Yeah.
So this kind of helps your explanation to
Yeah.
them to say, we're letting it
Yeah.
out, because we don't, you guys were saying it's too high, and we're not gonna.
That's what
Keep
they
doing
happen,
that.
they want it up and the other don't.
Oh, yeah, depending on where they're at, on the lake, some of them,
And,
yeah.
and that the sampling and testing could be, to take to the. Fish, Wildlife and Parks and Forest Service, and US Fish and Wildlife Service to. Or US Wildlife Service, right? There's no fish.
We're gonna move on here, because we're right at.
All right, and
Thanks.
Oh, you have a comment.
Did we vote on the? Yeah,
I was getting ready to, now we got another public comment. Go ahead, Elena. You better stay here.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Elena Gagliano. I assume that we're doing the 10:45, right, to 11 o'clock about the correspondence. And I think Mr. Bradshaw had mentioned something about FERC, and I want to know how much weight does the license FERC and the hydroelectric plant have in the level regarding the flow?
I guess. I mean, we have the FERC order, is that what you're talking about, what it requires?
Right, yeah, because they also have a say, you can't go high, you can't go low without contacting them, because that would affect, the amount of electricity that's gonna be coming out of.
The FERC's not looking at amount of electricity at all in those, that order, they're looking at, there's certain. Certain.
Well, isn't the license has to do with generation of hydroelectricity?
Can you
Well,
let Wayne finish,
It,
please?
FERC doesn't care if you're doing. If you're, they're not gonna come say you even have to turn on turbines on, is my understanding. They are, if you're, making power there or have the license, and you gotta comply with their requirements. And there's not a minimum amount of electricity that has to be produced at all. The requirements that they have for the county are in regards to lake level and outflows. For basically, they're looking at it for fish and other safety issues. So it's got to be within 1 foot of at the full pull by the end of May is the projection. Irrigation season has to be at 30 CFS. But if you're at full pull, the county can let out inflows if they're above 30 CFS. Keep it right at full pull. That would be a temporary modification. But if right now the county wanted to let out 90 CFS and create some freeboard, that would be requesting a temporary modification, because you'd be, once you're below full pull, you gotta be at 30 CFS, or it's an amendment to the temporary modification, which you need the agency consent.
Thanks.
So,
Well,
Yeah.
I thought the whole purpose of the FERC license is the generation of hydroelectricity. We didn't have the problem before. And we've got the problem now. FERC, that's why you have hydroelectric. He's there, an employee, doesn't that have something to do with the generation of electricity?
the license allows it, but FERC is not requiring you to run turbines. You have to follow their rules. Yeah, but if obviously the county wants the funding or the revenues there, because we get the royalty off of that. So there is a factor, but the county has to, those FERC rules on lake level and outflows trump any desire for like we have make it producing more electricity.
Okay. We'll move on then. Thanks for explaining that. We're in the area 5 on aging. Program update with Joe Gilboy. Is he on yet?
He's not on yet, but he is gonna join via Zoom. I did get a hold of him. Jackie's on. I'm just gonna go ahead and make her a co-host, so I don't have to.
All in favor?
I,
Right.
What was that? Sorry, I missed it.
I forgot we had all that fun, and I forgot to call all in favor of. leave it.
Aye.
Oh,
Sorry about it.
Or out,
on the
outflows will be match inflows using the USGF graph as a guide.
We're just waiting on Joe Gilboy. The public wanted to know. I mean, the roads down the road are terrible too. Everybody's just being patient, waiting. This thing. I mean, we want us to run and hire 10 more. They want us to go get 10 more blades, instead of running them on every road. I mean, it's. And it takes a special person doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's an art and
all right, Joe is on. I made him a co-host so he can mute and unmute and do anything he needs to do.
Hey, Joe.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Just a second, we're turning up the volume so we can hear you better. Some people come through really, really loud and. You know how they get them booster speakers. That's what we have. All right, you hear us now?
Yeah, I'm turning up my volume. You garbly. You're garbly. Fix your speaker. No, just kidding.
Okay,
There we go.
I'm hearing you better. Can you guys hear me better?
Okay. Say we're talking to you about this Area 5 and what we can do with that money and how it can be spent, you know, if there's something else. It's just, we're not. It's gotten out of hand.
Okay, so there's, quite a few different ways you could go, depending on kind of what you're thinking about. So the money that we basically contract to Granite County are federal, what's called Title III-B monies, and then the state general fund monies, and those can be used to pretty much support any program. Under the Older American Act, which is a wide variety of services, everything from homemaker to transportation to we have a couple counties that actually help support a home health nurse. You can also use it for your senior center programs if needed, although we contract separately with the two senior centers. They get most of what's called Title III-C money, which is nutrition, to run their programs, and then they get a little bit of state money also. Mainly just because the only thing we've received an increase in over the last 15 years was a little bit of state money, and I just spread that increase around so everybody got a little bit at that time. Because it had been such a long time since we had any kind of increase in overall funding. But so there's a wide variety of things you could do. The idea, and we just went through a 4-year planning process, and just to be kind of looking at within each of our communities, what kind of needs there are for the senior population and how we might be able to meet those needs if they're not being provided elsewhere. And that's why you kind of get a different look depending on where you are. It's different around each of my contractors in Area 5. It's different between each area agency and the state. Because it's nice. It gives you kind of the autonomy to adjust to what you believe your biggest needs are in your individual communities. So you don't have to provide every program or every type of service listed under the Old Americans Act, you can kind of pick out of there what ones you think are most needed in your community. And then also, you know, given funding constraints, what you may be able to provide for the available resources. So there's a lot of flexibility in there. So, you know, if you guys can kind of, what were you thinking? I mean, what?
Well, I guess what I'm thinking, it's just not, it's overrunning and that, thank you for the 1,700, that helped get us through some more here, but. When it breaks it down, I mean, with the mileage and everything else, and then what they're doing, and my personal opinion, this is me. I think it's a liability. I'm just scared that we got people in other people's houses and. There's only so much they can do for Area 5, but they're getting asked to do other stuff, and this is gonna come back and bite us in the butt. And I don't know, is it true that we're the only ones in the state that's doing this? Or one more?
I believe you're the only one that's completely supported through area agency money.
My other question would be is that money, couldn't you give it to like both senior citizens? Split it in the middle and let them do this stuff, or is that something? I mean, they always, you know, they need help too. I don't know, we just gotta figure something out, this is.
I
Right.
think he's saying that it'd be the county could take that money and use it for other purposes. Is that correct?
True. You know, I know one of the big things, and I know it's been part of our planning process, and they recently did a kind of needs assessment for the state. They had some, I think it came through some of the ARPA funds. They were able to do a statewide survey, and one of the big things in Granite County is lack of transportation. That there's no, now again, that's not an easy thing to get into either. I mean, that's part of the reason we've had lack of transportation in Granite County, is we've had several. I know the nursing home at one time tried it, and it's an expensive endeavor to be running a.
I know the the hospital district has a transport van. I've seen it out and about. So you're saying that that could be one of the options?
Sure, like you could support that if they were gonna do kind of some general rides. You know, the whole idea is you want to support something that's helping, you know.
To them,
most people in the community. You don't want to be supporting something that's exclusive just to their patients. or-
Okay, so Scott made a point about, this is what, made a point about. We're the only county that's using Area 5 for home visits, but we don't have any other way to help them. Where other counties might have other like home health funds and stuff. I'm thinking, I don't think we should get rid of the home visits. I'm thinking if you're saying that there's ARPA funds out there that could be supplemented for the Area 5 for home visits. Or.
I've got a little left, but basically I've already allocated out what we got in ARPA funding. So there was ARPA funds that went to Granite Public Health.
So I know from. It's hard for me to understand this because I understand we've done Area 5, well, since. I began at Granite County, Area 5 has been in place. And it's always been managed by the county health nurse and now we're running it where we don't have anyone to manage the aides in Area 5, so that's looking into a problem, but that's not saying that there's still not a need for these senior citizens that cannot afford to get home health or pay for this, and that's what Area 5 is all about, from what I understand. I wouldn't want to lose that program to these senior citizens that need the help and can't afford it. That's how I feel about this.
No, and I agree, I know they need help, I just wonder if there's a different way that if that money could take us through something that some private entity can do it. But I guess I don't, that's, I know.
Yeah, it's,
I know that. I don't.
One clarification is not home health though. They're helpers, but you're right. It is a valuable service.
yeah, and it's, you know, the other they have a homemaker program here through the Belmont. But, that's also supported by county levy money that the Belmont gets. Powell County Council on Aging, they also do a homemaker program. They also receive county money that helps with that program. The problem with the funds we have, the Older Americans Act fund, is they were never meant to pay for full programs. They're meant to support programs. They're meant to be there so people that can't afford the service can get it, or anybody else is asked to either, pay for it or donate towards it. So, it's always, all the rest of the programs are kind of built along that kind of level of having some other sort of support, whether it's, local from the county or fundraising, or, there's also different ways to run that program. You could look at the most needy people who can't afford this, and anybody else on the program has to pay for it. I mean, you can look at sliding fee scales where people pay a certain amount based on their income. There are other ways to do this, it doesn't have to be completely, and really, given the funds we get, can't be completely reliant on the Area 5 money, because there'll never be enough.
Well, I guess then the other, yeah, I understand there's cares and that, but the other thing is it seems like these people, they're supposed to only do so much, but the residents are asking for more. How do we, I mean, you can sit there and tell them not to do it, and then if they get hurt or something, then they can go back and say, well, I was on Area 5.
Yeah.
I just, there's no way to keep, it just seems like it's getting into a bigger, they want more for nothing.
Okay, so I question this because the aides going into the homes, they are supposedly trained to say, this is what you can do and this is what you can't do. And so it is up to them to say no to the residents that are asking for their help. And it's already what? In the works that they do go into the home, so that's covered. It's the aide's responsibility to make sure that they only do what they're supposed to do and not do extra. And if they do extra, that's not on the county, that would be on the aide.
Okay, Blanche, this is Jackie. Can you hear me?
Yes, Jackie.
This is the problem we are having. We have given scopes to those aides because they are not home health workers, they are not CNAs, they are home companions, and that is what is on their job description. And they are going out of the scope of what they are in their job descriptions. So what would you like us to do?
What do you mean by that question?
Well, when we say you cannot do X, Y, and Z, and it continues, do we write them up or do we, what would you like?
Chuck, go ahead, Chuck.
Can't we make a list from the commission that says, you can do this, period? And then make copies and give it to the people.
And she's saying that's what they're given.
done it.
Yeah, they've done it and the aides are they're still exceeding their scope. So ultimately, it is an aid issue, but a
Okay.
supervision issue.
But this isn't the commissioner's responsibility to decide what you as a supervisor. That's supervised by the county health nurse. Now we don't have a county health nurse. So I can't tell you, Jackie, what you need to do or what qualifications. That doesn't come under the scope of the commission to tell another supervisor what they need to do.
Well, if you're gonna have a supervisor, then it would be the commission would be potentially over them, just like the. So you're right, the commission's not doing the day-to-day things like that, but under the umbrella of the commission would be the top of it. It ultimately though is you have to have a good supervisor in place to make sure that they're doing that, or they do get letter of reprimand and so forth. If you continue on, I'm saying if you're continuing on the program, how it's run, supervisors got to hold them to their duties.
So Jackie, what would you think needs to be done? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I guess, I don't know. We have, it's been addressed and addressed and addressed. Do we? This is another conversation for another day.
I think it probably brings in some personnel matters.
What's that?
I think she's probably referring to, it probably brings in some personnel matters.
Well,
Would be my
what
guesstimate.
other issue to bring up? It is, I think, hard to get the home health aides that apply. I think that's been a stress, hasn't it, Jackie?
Yes, it has. And, you know, Deb and I, we have reached out to home health agencies and, we have found like Frontier Health out of Missoula now finally has licensure in Granite County. But when I spoke with the director, they have no one that they can pull into our county to work. That is our bottom line. We need home health in this county, and it needs to be ran by a professional LPN, RN, CNA. And it needs to give these people, we're a very small Band-Aid. And the problems we're having is some people need a higher level of care than what the Area 5 program can provide.
That's where your liability potential
That's-
exposure is, yeah.
Absolutely, that is.
I just want, you know, I'm not against having that. I just wish there was an easier and better way that they could. I wish somebody would come in here as a contractor and just take it over and give them the Area 5 money so they have a better idea, and then it's just, I'm not against it. It's just that it's.
So Joe, this is my question for you. Yesterday, I made contact with somebody that's living in the Drummond area. And I have to make a conversation with them, haven't talked to them personally. They are providing some home health in Granite County. Can some of that funding go to them in that retrospect to help them if they are doing a home health, or does it need to stay in an agency like the county? How would that work?
I took Joe Hill, thinking that it could be used for that. That's why I asked about the senior citizen. Then when it's hard to hear him on there, but I thought he said it could be used for that. Am I right, Joe?
Yeah, I don't think there'd necessarily be any restriction that it has to go to an agency. We just have to make sure that on the back end, that services are being done and that we have proper reporting of it, so we can show that, you know, what we're paying for is actually being done. I think who does it isn't as big of a deal. As long as, you know, we just want to make sure we're not supporting something that, you know, comes back to bite us, that it's somebody that isn't reputable or, you know, ends up stealing somebody's identity or those, you know what I mean? So that's why we tend to look more for agency based, just because they have those safeguards in place. They have, you know, they're careful of who they hire, they do background checks, all that type of stuff. But if there's, you know, somebody that you know, feel pretty confident in, that would, you know, do the work in the way it's supposed to be, then, you know, there's no automatic restriction that we can support that.
So then this person would just have to do like the financial reporting I do for you every month?
Yeah, we'd have to, figure out a way to
Pass
make
through,
that work.
yeah.
Okay, so here's one statement for me is that years and years ago, we had a home health fund. And it naturally was supervised by the county health nurse. But this could be something that if someone was interested, they would have to go through the county, through the home health, starting up a home health fund, and then Area 5 monies could be transferred into that home health fund to help cover expenses. Is that something?
Yeah, that would be.
Could that be, being that they're a contractor, just that money Does it have to come through the county or can it go right to them?
Well, the county could pass it through, but the county would want to contract with that home health business or whatever it is, so that they provide X, Y, and Z services for that with that money. And that's what Joe's saying, there needs to be a check on it, so that
Yeah.
there's a financial reporting and that they're actually doing the job that they committed to do.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be,
That's
an
why it's
yeah, it wouldn't be an employee, it would be like, say, like Jackie, you say this person does home health. It would be someone who contracts with the county and funds would come out of the home health fund. And these revenue funds would come from insurance, it would come from probably the county transferring funds in from Area 5, or probably there's money in the CARES Act. Yeah, that would work if they want to take the Area 5 completely out and just have home health. Is that something, Jackie, that you see that would be workable?
I would think that if we could get someone in to provide the services that are needed would be great.
Love to see that, where then they kind of can keep control and watching and doing everything. That's, I mean, we just don't have the power to do it.
One of the issues will be that the home health will be limited like the program is now. You only have
Yeah.
so many resources, so someone might be left out of it, but they can
This-
only.
Yeah, this Area 5 might help them be able to run their business. This extra money comes into that public health. If they're gonna be a contract, this extra money, at least then they can plan on other stuff plus this, and then they can expand more and do. See what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, It's people need the resources to be able, the financial resources to be able to.
It's the whole
Get going.
thing is, it's a financial, it's not that we don't wanna take care of the people, it's just, we gotta figure out, boy, that'd be nice to have somebody come in and give them that money too, and then do all the stuff they're supposed to take care of these people. Cause this is an elderly community, it's getting more and more.
So- Question, is this the gist of this conversation then, would be to have asked Joe, okay, can Area 5 be transferred into another fund to help with aid to senior citizens in need?
That's what I put it on there, that's, cause I didn't understand where you could spend it or how this, I. So,
Yeah, it's, from us, the money that we send to you is not earmarked specifically for anything. It doesn't have to be just used for home health or homemaker, or, it can be used for transportation. The senior centers could use it to support any programs they're doing. I mean, it's like a whole list of services you can do. So it's really what you guys think is best, and what is most needed. And then the other side of it, if you're gonna subcontract somebody, we just have to make sure, the big thing with Older Americans Act funds is it has to be used to help those who couldn't afford to pay for such service. It can't be used just to prop up somebody's profits. And that's the big thing they watch for. So that's the one thing we have to make sure we're accounting for, is that, yes, this money is being used to help these people who otherwise wouldn't get such a service or couldn't afford such a service.
it'd be nice to see somebody come in and take over and just, cause I think then they probably, not saying that these don't do a great job, but they might be able to help a little bit more here and there, these people that need it. Which, I don't know even how you pick and choose when you get or what.
So explaining that, the home health fund is be like its own little fund. It has its cash account. It has its expenditure account. It has its revenue coming in, and it all is maintained by a supervisor, but it goes through the county. And I guess it could be a contracted person that would contract out of them. But it has to be maintained, like Joe says, checks and balances.
Just on.
We just can't transfer to this person and say,
Yeah, it's gotta be,
That's where I was at, right,
yeah, it's gotta be a contract that where they're independent contractor. And but the county's ultimately over that fund.
Yeah.
But the county with the contract would transfer funds for them agreeing to do X,
For
Y,
a
and
certain
Z.
amount of money to come out of home health,
Yeah,
and yet they would turn in revenues. And they would have to maintain the insurance part of it.
well, yeah, likely they would, independent contractor, but they wouldn't have control over the funds per se. That would only be the county commission would, and would, contract with them.
Just
To-
the area
to-
5 bucks.
Yeah, well, Blanche is talking about potentially, there'd be some other supplementing of that.
Yeah.
But I don't see that being the, I guess it could be your independent contractor, could be bringing in, the contract could be that they're doing so much work and bringing in so much revenue that would come back into that fund. Trying to think of, I mean,
It's something we're gonna have to look into, and maybe Jackie could talk to this person and we can figure out if they're interested or. You know, and just got to look into it to see if this would be something that could help them run their
yeah,
contract.
I just don't see, I don't know if contractors are gonna wanna, be gaining revenue. I think they're gonna wanna be given funds to provide a service. I generally think that's the way contractor would work, but there may be something that
Well,
could
here's
be
the
worked
thing,
out.
who would run it then? I mean, who's gonna maintain, make sure that the revenue gets. Brought into the treasurer's office to make sure that the claims that need to be paid get brought into the clerk and recorder's office.
Well, I see it being more of a, them providing this, the service in the community, and they get whatever, how much is it, Area 5 annually, Joe?
So total is about 23,000.
So the thought would be either all or portion of that gets, as part of a contract for a independent contractor to perform certain services. And that, so that they're not, if the county's wanting to supplement that with other funds, they could. But that contractor is a home health business or whatever that has to follow the rules set by the county.
That's what they're saying, they have to file the reports and all that.
Well, no, ultimately it's passed through the county, you have to do that, but the county would have, be conveying that money, such as like. When FEP was an independent contractor, like that.
I guess we'll, this was pretty much it for discussion. It's just pretty much a discussion, there's still quite a bit more to learn about this, I mean. So we'll table it for a couple weeks. You guys good with that? Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Joe. Hope you're doing better.
Sure thing, yeah, doing much better. And I'll look to ask around to some of the other areas, and I know, and even Powell County Council on Aging, they're currently running a subcontract with the local hospital to do some of their home health stuff. So I'll see what kind of ideas and how other places are doing that, and try to get you guys some information on how you might set that up, or what it might look like, and what they require, you know, how they contract it, things like that. So I'll see what I can find out.
And
Thank you.
in the meantime,
Okay.
I commission to get, make a decision as promptly as you can, because then you have aides now that are not gonna be supervised.
Yeah.
This is
Starting,
the new
just
fiscal year.
starting, yeah, July 1. And a kind of Deer Lodge might be willing to do it for in like an interim, no?
Glory.
You're pretty adamant.
Yes, we'll just put it back on, you can see what we can do, huh?
I'll put it on the 11th. Give you some time.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
tough, ain't it? Health has always been tough. All right, so we're gonna move on to the update to the public health and safety coordinator. Job description to include prep duties, discussion, decision. You still on, Jackie?
Sorry, what?
Right, I seen if you were still on. Did you read through this?
I don't know.
I did not have time.
There's just one line added that's highlighted.
Have you sent this so she can see the one line?
I don't remember.
That one line that just says acts as county prep coordinator performing all duties, including drafting and submitting all required prep documentation in a timely manner.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
So I entertain a motion then. Are you good with this? I guess that's good.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I do have to say, it would be much easier if I were not having to do the Area 5 and all that paperwork and all the financials and everything. Because it takes a lot of time and there is no funding left in that grant to pay any of my wages to do all the administration part of it. Or Deb's, because it all goes out to our aides and mileage and telephones and so that's,
Maybe
you know.
that person, take that over or whatever you talk through and see if we can make it work that way then.
You know, Jackie, I see where you're coming from, absolutely, because it was under the control of the county health nurse and then
Wait.
contracted in Missoula for a time and then now with the Santa Clara Deer Lodge. And no, that isn't your responsibility. And understandably, you
but
work.
I have to say too, the needs of our community, because of our, like, what is it, 62.5% of Granite County is over the age of 65. So our needs have changed dramatically from when Harriet Menser was a county nurse.
Right.
That we have a need in our county that cannot be met. And these are, again, not home health aides, they are companions. They are not hired as home health aides or CNAs. And that's where the problem kind of becomes muddled.
Okay.
Understandable, Jeff.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion in on this.
I make a motion to accept the change, one line change for the public health and safety coordinator to act as the county VEPS coordinator.
I second
Public comment?
Elena.
Go ahead, Elena.
Thank you, Elena Gagliano. For the record, I had a comment for the previous agenda item when you were talking about Article 5. Apparently Jackie also had a previous comment about it. I was going to say, why, since you're updating the job position descriptions and stuff like that, that should have been included in what you're doing now or past. You're updating the public health and safety coordinator and going through it. So that should be in there. Paperwork, this, that, and the other thing. So, and if it's Area 5, an outside department, they know who to work with. And the same thing in the county, who knows how to work with. And as far as that one that was highlighted, performing all duties and drafting and submitting all required FEP documentation in a timely manner. What's a timely manner? Okay, I mean, it's so vague. This is part of government. And there's rules and regulations that government employees, elected and appointed, the committees, the boards have to follow.
Elena, this is Jackie.
Yes,
On those deliverables that we receive from the state for our maternal child grant, for more, for immunizations, they all have deadline dates on that paperwork. So just your information, they are all like on a quarterly basis.
Thank you.
So,
If I may make.
okay. Okay, and when you have a meeting or something involving one of, when,
To Elena on your documentation in a timely manner. Comment, okay. Deliverables, I think, are once a year. And so on job descriptions, you have daily duties, you have weekly duties, and you have monthly duties. And they go into a job description. Speaking with the auditor years ago, if there's something that's yearly, that's done yearly, it's not put in the job description because it's not repetitive. So documentation in a timely manner, I would say, covers that job description.
People use timely manner in contracts, and so it's not vague. What it is, meeting your deadlines. So that's what it means.
Go ahead, Elena.
thank you. All I'm saying is it's not very clear in the job description. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And the other thing too is, you know, it's just for the record. I'm asking questions, I'm looking for comments, somebody responds to me and then I'm muted, so I can't say anything. I mean, I'm sorry, for the record. Again, this is not being handled properly. Thank you.
You asked a question and she was trying to answer you and you kept cutting her off. Thank you. We're gonna move on. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried and passed. Okay, updated job description for part-time clerk and the draft assistant. Discussion decision.
Can I start this conversation?
Yes.
Thank you. I just want to say that the original description was Kim Pavlov's position, and that was when I was clerk and recorder, and I made her my election assistant, which was more, she had more authority on doing election stuff. So this was rewritten, and it was rewritten for her at a grade 9. Okay, this position that you guys are looking at, and it is the only other thing that was on it was Pike's Board of Commissioners minutes, which is redundant, and you don't even, that doesn't have to be in there because that doesn't happen anymore. But previously, when I just made that discussion to Elena on your job descriptions coming from the auditor, if you do a daily job, you do a weekly job and a monthly job, it is repetitive and it gets into your job description as duties that you do. If there's something in there that maybe is only done once a year, that isn't something that has to be put in that job description because it's not repetitive. So looking at your revamping of this job, this position description, I think on your areas of job accountability and performance, I think that one paragraph, that knowledge of administrative assistant to the commissioner's duties, which includes but not meetings and taking minutes, drafting and posting commissioner's agenda, update fixed assets. The billing and leasing is a once a year thing. And that is actually the billing.
Oh, yeah, you need to.
It's in the updated one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so this is a once a year thing. That's actually in Billy's job description, which it got a little too detailed, it's only once a year thing. And so I don't see it needing to be in this job description.
Okay, I just was kind of putting it, I mean, the stuff that this person is gonna need to know how to do, how to help with Billy to do.
Okay,
So I just was kind of,
Support.
yeah, but and I noticed in the other job descriptions, in the one
Okay.
that Kim had and the one that.
Okay, so this paragraph here, I don't think should even be in there. I think that the bottom line in there performs the duties of administrative assistant to the commission in their absence, because they don't perform the duties, the Zoom meetings and taking minutes and posting commissioner's agenda with the administrative assistant being here, and that's kind of saying that they're gonna do that for the administrative assistant. That's the way it sounds. to me.
Oh, okay, and I was kind of saying that,
Where this could be something to do with me too, where it says acknowledge. I was thinking they need to know what they were supposed to, but they just. Am I on the wrong page with you?
no, you're on the right one, Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, performs what it performs the duties of the administrative assistant to the commission in their absence. Which therefore they'd have to have knowledge of the administrative assistant's duties. That could
That's
be
what I-
under this line here, but you don't want it up here. Because you have the second, do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I see, I just thought, you know, so that it was clear that they know, they need to know how to do that in case of, you know,
I see what
their
you're saying.
absence.
Reading it over. and
You
over,
see,
Is all I was,
So just
so we
swap
don't
them
need
around.
all, okay.
Right, or just take that.
Okay,
whole
so
thing?
performs the duties of the administrative assistant to the commission in their absence.
So, and that's what we had in Sue's.
Yeah, and that's all that needs to be there, because that person, naturally, Billy is going to train her to do the Zoom, and it's just a normal procedure type thing in her absence.
And we all know what Sue does, and this person is gonna continue doing what.
Yeah. But as far as I'm saying, the billing leases and maintaining the county board statuses, that's only done once a year. And this is something that Billy, okay, so Sue does it for Billy right now, correct, Billy?
Yes, in and out, yeah, we could.
And it is in her job description, Billy's job.
Bebop it.
So,
No, good.
yeah, I guess all I kind of was,
Just move it.
yeah.
I
guess
could see
all-
where taking minutes could be a knowledge,
Yeah, and
should
then,
be, yeah.
Yeah, I just was trying to, you know, make it aware that these are kind of things that they are gonna need,
Yeah.
you know, that they should know how to do and that they are gonna be learning. So, but if we don't need to put that in, then.
and then when Billy mentioned that a couple weeks ago in the weekly report, she was a little worried that it would create more where she'd have to comp for overtime, and I thought we understood that wasn't the case, so.
And some of this is, you know, you and I talked, there's some of this is me. I'm not scared to admit that it was my bad, and I told her what to, you know, make sure you had a paper trail, so you know exactly what to do, and I should have come in and talked to you, and I apologize for that.
So if this is helping us,
That was the second, but I'm the one that pushed this, and I want you to know, it was me
Yeah.
that.
that's fine, I don't. no
I
problem
guess I
coming in
wanted
and
to
explaining
explain
it.
Just-
No, I mean, this is not for the commission to decide what's in this job
And
description.
that's my bad, because I did not.
However, Scott, rest assured, this person is gonna do, I mean, you look at Sue's description, this person is gonna do the same stuff,
I
it's
just
gonna be in the
wanted-
same thing.
I just
Yeah,
wanted
they're
it so everybody knew what they had to do, so we don't get into a big conflict and say that, well, I didn't know how to do this, and then that's why I told her, right? Yeah, I should have come talk to you. I apologize.
It's all the same thing, except for this person is going to know a lot more about the election stuff.
You know,
So
that's
that
my
we-
bad. No,
Well, I think the commission, I mean, the commission oversees that, so you know, ultimately you.
But I
so that- Yeah.
I
you
should have
say-
come in and
yeah.
sat down and said, well, what about this one, make sure that we all were on the same page and everybody knows what goes on and. Yeah,
So
My bad.
do we need to take that out of it? I mean, the job description is
I
here
think-
or,
Performs the duties of the administrative assistant to the commission in their absence, must have knowledge of administrative
put it on top of it.
duties.
yeah, okay. Oh, okay, and not specify
I
what
don't think
those
so,
are.
no.
Okay, that's, okay.
And I'm.
My dad
would
would put
better
that.
specify for everybody knows what's
Yeah.
on, and I didn't know I
Yeah.
couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Where it got out of hand, it's me, sorry.
No, good.
All right.
No, as,
Thank you.
as chair, that's, I think that's, I mean, you're
But
supposed to be
now
coordinating all
we
that.
got it lined out, so we're all good, everybody's good.
Yeah.
So, do I entertain a motion?
I make a motion that with the corrections of this. Of the job accountability and performance, that we accept this. Reinstate this job description.
Yeah.
I gotta make a motion first, then you can make public comment.
Well, do with what you're getting ready to make a motion for. Is the only reason I'm trying to get your attention. It's about this. That you're getting ready to.
Okay, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Come up,
She
Jim.
can't hear you.
I can't hear you yet.
Uh-huh.
We make the motion, then we go to public comment, right? Or what do you?
Yeah.
got, something?
Well, I thought public comments came as part of the discussion and then y'all did the motion.
We do the motion first, and we ask for public comment, then we,
Well,
but whatever.
let me just tell you what I'm trying to say, and then maybe you can understand why I wanted to do it before you made the motion. Under education and experience for the revised. It's removed the GED high school diploma. And I was just wondering if that was an omission or if that was some reason for that seemed, that's pretty standard for most positions.
Yeah, it was done. Yeah, we don't, I think that with experience and life experience or whatever, I mean, there are people that. As long as they can write and they've got their application and, you know, there isn't any kind of. You don't need any accounting stuff, you know, that you have to be schooling for. I just think if somebody can speak well, if you didn't. Finish your high school, but you've been going on and working. Lots, I mean, that's experience in there.
And I agree. I'm just.
Yeah, that's why.
When I
That's
was
why.
reading it, it looked out of place.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's in all the
Right.
other versions, but it's not.
Yeah.
And it's pretty
I didn't read that.
Oh,
That
yeah.
wasn't highlighted.
It's a pretty standard, you know, requirement for education, and if that is the case, then you might wanna. Reformat that to just saying experience required, because there's no other,
Uh-huh.
there's no other.
So when
education.
everything is, it's, what if we say that it's helpful? Everything's helpful to have these things, that's a helpful thing, but it's not definitely required. So,
Thank you.
but we
Thank
can
you.
sure,
That was Jim McKay.
okay,
Any other public comment?
Elaine.
Okay,
Well, one thing I was
Yeah.
gonna say is potentially, I guess that could be, well, likely it wouldn't be overtime, but I guess. That person's a fill-in for Billy, right?
mm-hmm,
So, I mean, I guess there could be a chance there's gonna be overtime. So. There's a possibility.
oh, no, she was talking about Billy having overtime.
Oh,
having to
Billy.
do
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just-
Right in place. Working. Oh, hold on, I have to run down.
Again, for the record, Elena Gagliano, on these updates or whatever. I think that it should be detailed. Because you made changes earlier in the year as far as the job description of the administrator. And I believe they're not under the clerk and recorder anymore. And I'm telling you right now, we're having a problem finding documents. And I think Blanche, you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago when nobody could find information regarding the JP agreement. That should be with the clerk and recorder. And I think all documents should be with the clerk and recorder. And even if they do the duties of the administrative assistant, I don't think there should be a separate file. It should be registered with the clerk and recorder. So if you're looking for a document, you get in touch with the clerk and recorder and they have a copy of it, not that they're told, contact the administrator. Something is going on with the documents, and I believe, and I think Sarah's still there, Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong. The clerk and recorder has all the public documents. Am I correct?
Well, the real estate, I think that we have. Are you talking about like the leases and the interlocal agreements and things like that, Elena?
The resolutions that the county signs, anything discussed at
Yeah.
the meeting, the minutes, there used to be a correlation. Because what happened with Mike Cahill, God rest his soul, some of the records he had in his office, some he had filed with the clerk and recorder, and some of them we can't find, okay? So
Okay.
all I'm saying for coordination, consistency, if I'm looking for something, I should be able to look online. If I can't find it, get in touch with the clerk and recorder, just the way it used to be, and then I got a copy.
All right, thank you. Black.
We will try to. I forgot it.
It's all right.
Anyway,
Did you make
the
a
motion?
Yeah.
Okay, things I didn't know that you took out.
Yeah, sorry about that.
GED and high school. Diploma, you're working on experience.
Uh-huh.
My comment would be, I feel that
It should.
I'm
be
just
in
going by what an auditor told me about job descriptions. And I don't think you can be too busy with the
So,
job description detail.
You would,
Where,
you'd move to amend the job description with your changes.
okay,
That was, I think
Yes.
your motion.
thank
Yeah.
you, that's what. And got seconded,
All in favor? Aye,
aye.
thank
Okay.
you, thanks.
We're good?
Yeah.
Are we
Yep.
good?
We're good. I'll rewrite that and then have you look at it, just make sure that you're happy to look at it.
All right, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on here to the Riddick Field Agreement. You said that they're not, it ain't ready, so we can.
I haven't seen it back. Ernie is waiting for the changes back from the Forest Service.
Let's just table it then for next week.
You haven't seen it back, have you?
No,
No.
we had some,
Changes.
yeah, there was some, yeah.
Go off for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, take a break.
We're going off for a personal talk. for a couple-
Personnel,
Our personnel, not personal. So we're back on.
I need to see you before you go home.
Read the what?
See you before you go home.
You see me right now, what?
So Vicky, just stop.
Speak up for me. could
You sure you want them over?
Hey, speak up for me.
Michael, there's an email from Michael saying that the assessments are inaccurate.
Yeah.
Becky's checking into it. She actually talked to.
I hope so.
They
we
won't tell
talked
you which
to
ones.
The Department of Revenue, and then she's also calling NACO, and she hasn't got an answer back yet.
They're doing a public, public forum there. When's
Yeah.
that, July?
July.
July 11th.
But that's
And
just
the
to
museum.
explain, that isn't.
That isn't.
Well, it'll be both now.
Six.
I'm thinking it didn't say 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Okay.
6:02.
Is that what you're trying to give me?
Look,
Yes.
No, Blanche, if your appraisal say it goes up 40%. That doesn't mean taxes go up 40%, because you adjust the millage.
Yeah,
But on some of their letters, I think, I haven't seen the letter yet.
They do
They're
it
basically
next
implying that it's
No.
going up that same amount. So I think that's misleading
Yeah.
people lots. So people
Yeah,
I'm trying to spread the word to come to that July 11th meeting.
that's what I did too.
I took a picture of that sign and people got it on Instagram.
so the letter was gonna be, we're gonna have more cash, so the mills will go down.
Yes.
Balancing them.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
so
what I tried to.
The mills needed. I
the
mean,
Department of Revenue is not explaining that in their letter at all, and from what I've heard. Go ahead,
That's our,
yeah,
and so that they don't have any use for that as.
good point, but I think people read that on face value, like, oh, my taxes are gonna.
Well, like
Yeah.
today with the comment made that the taxes are going up and that means that we're gonna get more money. No, it doesn't.
Well, it basically might mean the state's gonna get more money, but we're not gonna get.
They don't
State
understand that.
Well, there isn't, I mean, there is inflation already, but. For what some people are going up I mean, it's
60-70%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
And what Mako says, we can't, the counties can't. We can't do inflation, only the state can do their little, in their
Yeah.
formula, that little inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Yes.
yeah, it's good they're coming on July 11th. to
It's
explain to
gonna be
people.
some kind of show.
Vicky probably, she's not gonna be there.
And I'm not gonna be there.
I don't blame them, I'll let them,
It'll be in Oregon.
the state of Montana creates the tax code, they do the appraisals. You're collecting and you're
Yeah,
not.
I'm
you're not-
collecting this all, and then it all pretty much, most of it goes to the state. of
Yeah.
Montana.
The calls I got yesterday, I referred them to the next legislative session.
Oh, good for you.
Uh-huh.
Tell about that July 11th. meeting.
I did, I told them about that too.
Oh, don't you want to start the meeting?
Get somebody to take it down there,
Yeah, chit chatting before the next agenda item.
Riddick Field is gonna be tabled for next week. They don't have nothing yet. And so we're going into the potential transaction to bi-weekly payroll. And I put this on, it brought, they called and asked me to put it on.
I just have some
Just a second, I'm gonna get back.
questions about.
I don't know. I guess we don't need Becky.
Well,
She's
the-
one that,
she's
she
what-
brought it to me.
Opinion,
She has
opinion,
information.
people, probably let's get into the 21st century. And once the reason that it was a monthly payroll years and years ago was the fact that everything was done manually. And so it took you a week to 2 weeks to do payroll, so you get all prepared because you have to do everything by hand. Where now it's automatic,
Yeah.
so. I think the bi-weekly, I myself feel that.
Okay,
I don't think it's gonna create any more of a job for you to do it bi-weekly than monthly.
Alright.
What I was saying is, the reason that we did it years ago is because everything was done by hand. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
everything was done by hand,
Right, right.
and so it took a week, 2 weeks to do payroll.
Well, and the other thing too, when the last time that we, like, when Billy and I were speaking with that guy from whatever company.
You introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Becky Mickey, deputy operator.
Choking.
The last time that
Tootsie.
Billy and I spoke with the representative from that automated time card punch clock thing. He was indicating that it would kind of figure all of that overtime and like if the road crew comes in and they're only there for 3 hours, it automatically gives them that 4 hour that they're supposed to have. So all of that stuff is already figured in. And then it would be to the their supervisors would have to then okay their stuff before I would get it, and it would, from what I understood, kind of make it a little more electronic and not have so much on hand.
Yeah.
Stuff, so I don't know that it would be much more
I don't think it would,
work.
it'd be easier probably, for you, maybe more scrambling.
Maybe, I'm willing to be the guinea pig to see. I mean, really.
Comments?
I don't,
You're like choking to death.
That's-
Damn Tootsie Roll.
I actually don't have a problem either way, I mean. Cause when I was in Anaconda, they did twice a month, and it was hard to transit.
Yeah,
to do once a month.
It took me literally years to like get used to just once a month. It was hard. But I guess my only concern is now that I got all of my auto payments set up to like all come out right at the beginning of the month. So I'm just wanting to know if we'd have, like, if you have time to like let us
Oh, I would most certainly.
stabilize all our.
Yeah, I would assume that. I mean, I would personally wanna run. Side by side with
Side-by-side.
the electronic and with the way that I currently do it.
Yeah.
For at least 2 months to make sure that everything is in fact. Being done like it's supposed to be done. I don't wanna just jump in and then have everybody be like,
Okay, now,
my payroll's wrong.
So just, I'm just using you.
Mhm.
So if she just said that she didn't wanna do it by, she could still stay monthly?
No,
Okay.
We'd all go. It's like a one and.
it's
Are you
one
okay with
one
that?
for all and all for one, yeah.
Are you okay with it?
Yeah.
Are you okay with it?
I don't care.
Are you okay with it? So, yeah, cause like, all, I just, I would have to contact all of my, like, your mortgage people, all those and say, I gotta move. My payment,
Right.
to a different
The
time.
other thing too, so I mean, I would only want to do the bi-weekly if we were doing the time clock thing, because if I was doing it the way that I currently am, it is going to take me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, 2 whole weeks to get,
Okay, and that too, I would suggest the time clock.
yeah.
Cause then it kinda all works
It all
together.
works better. So how does the time clock work?
So the last time when Billy and I were chatting with the guy that we were talking to a couple years ago. He was indicating that we have a couple different options as far as we could do, like on-site. So like anybody that's come into the courthouse to work, we could just punch in on that time clock. But like our deputies, we would have, they would have the ability to punch in remotely. So that, because they don't come to a certain office, they get called out right now, they have to go right now, and they leave from generally their home, so. They would have an option to punch in on a remotely. The road crew, we could have time clocks at both of their places because they do all come there before they leave for work. Our area spot, yeah, go ahead.
But the only thing with that, that's why I was gonna ask you about doing a phone one or whatever. Cause road crew, a lot of them end up here. And then some of them live here, so they don't go back down, they might start, and then they come up.
Well, they'd have one at both sites,
and they- okay.
so if they come up here, they can clock out up here or clock in up here.
I just.
Well, there's no allowance of them getting to the job site.
No,
They have to be at a reported place.
they gotta be at the shop at
That's
whatever
fixed.
time.
Yeah.
Just like we do here, we have to
I
be here.
guess they know they get off work at, I guess then they could, you want them to come over, can't they do it on their phone?
No. They have a place that they check into and out of every afternoon. They can do it right there on their site. We can have a time clock at this,
I know what you're saying.
at this shop and at that shop. And either way, they've got to come to their shop, to get their rig,
Yeah.
their personal rig to leave.
With you would
That-
be remotely, right?
Yeah, that's
Because-
what, that was my primary question, I guess, cause I do have a very fluid
Mhm.
schedule, and I mean, because I live in Anaconda and I got all
And
kinds
if
of
we
stuff
do,
going
we do
on.
have a few of those, like, Jackie's pretty fluid with hers too, with the DES, the safety and the public health, she's pretty much, she's going back and forth.
Okay.
The other thing too is that at the end of the month, or at the end of the pay cycle, the, from the program that we looked at before, the, department head will be able to look at those, they can change that stuff. So if one of their guys forgot to punch out, if I forget to punch out tomorrow, Sarah can go back in and she can correct it and say, no, she did leave at 4 o'clock. She didn't get 24 hours of overtime.
Okay, and this would be elected officials naturally do not have a time card. so
Correct.
It would be the same going forward as it is now for elected officials.
Right, they would just be the salary.
Yeah.
173.33.
And that was when I first started, so the technology may be different now, but I mean, there's lots of different options. I feel like there's also options to just have it be a computer program on your computer, so like it could be either set up to your phone, or if you haven't purchased a laptop yet,
Which
like you
I'm
need
going
one.
to.
Yeah, you can have
I
it
am.
set- you could have it set up to that. But I mean, there was lots of different things. There was
Yeah.
stations. I think stations were a little bit more expensive, but you can have it set up even to the computers in each road shop.
And I'm not 100%, I don't know 100%
And that,
how
yeah.
it works out. I know that it does need to be compatible with Black Mountain, because that's the software that we use for payroll.
Yeah,
So I would probably contact other Black Mountain counties and ask them if they are utilizing a time card or a time clock system, or what they're doing, and kind of get ideas of how it's working for everybody else. I didn't wanna just willy-nilly jump in and start doing it before I talked to you guys about that and say, you know, well, this is what I've been doing.
So and then that this would be, there's going to naturally be added expense to the payroll with this, and so it would have to be budgeted accordingly
Right,
for the increase.
right.
The company previous Black Mountain referred us to, correct?
Yes.
What it was called.
So I guess
You know, I would also need to contact those counties who are doing the bi-weekly to just to see how it's working out for them and how they pay their taxes and their, you know, their state tax. I assume it's all still monthly, and I'm just gonna run those reports monthly and do my liabilities at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And are you guys looking then at bi-weekly, not twice a month? So you're
Yeah,
looking
that's
at,
different.
there's going to be 2 months where we're gonna get extra checks.
Yeah.
Because you have 52.
Would it be the
Right.
1st and 15th or every other Friday or every other Wednesday or? What would you
So
think?
there would be an option, I think, bi-weekly or semi-monthly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
15th and 30th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think.
that's what Ann like that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's just me.
Yeah.
I'd rather.
Well, no, semi-monthly is probably a little bit easier. As far as,
Right, so for everybody to be able to
No.
know when that check's gonna
I'd
hit
rather
there,
be paid on the
for us to
15th
all make our.
and 30th or 31st.
Yeah.
Especially
So-
from the trans.
I would make a motion. To potentially transition to semi-monthly
I'll second.
payroll and electronic timekeeping.
Public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Nope.
Where?
No, that is,
Is that a hand?
No.
there's a little hand up there, but it's not her hand.
No.
It's probably.
Oh, it's mine.
Really?
See? I'll move it out of the way.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. When would you like to have information on time clock stuff?
Probably next week, so if we're not.
11.
Because I thought that first of, huh? 'Cause-
The 11th, yeah.
Sorry, 11, sorry.
The 11th. Okay, I will get working on that and see what I come up with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Be nice, though, when you get paid twice a month, it's pretty tough on, new people who are just trying to figure out what to do, because everybody.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was
then-
hard when you. That was your only means, and it was once a month. Yeah. Once a month.
The next thing is, I put this on, I had on the Drummond Volunteer Ambulance Shed in Drummond. I had a call and there's a big thing in the walls like a rat and there's mice, we need to try to figure out. I don't know, I never did get hold of Frank,
I sent him an email.
okay, I know he's hauling mailings,
Okay.
so.
Oh, that's right.
The only thing, my biggest concern is that. I would have put poison in there and that, but I don't know what's good and what's not, and I don't know if that's such a good idea, food poison or. But they're starting to get in the walls now, and they could hear them in where Jackie was, but there's this, it's just. I don't know, oh,
Were you looking for me?
no, I didn't know, I just was telling, I didn't get a hold of Frank, but she said she did. I was the one that put this on there, cause well, I'll wait till you're done.
Well, you can talk. I can do this while you talk. I'm sure I can handle it. I do know what my address is.
Monica Prince is here now, so we can go ahead with this. I'm the one that put this on. We had somebody called me and there was you could hear stuff in the wall. We're getting mice and rats in there and I don't know. I went and looked, yes, there's mice, but I don't know what to throw away or nothing. I'm not touching nothing in there. It's not my deal.
So the issue is, like, we've always had mice and whatever, like, we probably need to, put traps out and clean it. Here's our concern. There's a lot of HIPAA information in there. There's a lot of information that have people's medical information, it has their social security numbers or their driver's license. Like, I don't know who you're gonna, so that was one of the reasons that we wanted it locked, but there's a lot of people with the combination that we don't even know are in and out of it. So we have some concerns there.
Can we put that stuff away and put it locked there or something? But I think what a lot of these mice are worse now, because they tore that whole thing down beside it. There was there used to be a motel next to it, and they tore it all down their building, and I think they all just moved across.
I would imagine they did. We just need, so we need to put some traps in there and we need to maybe put some bait bars out. I mean, we probably need to do that. But you're right, like. Who are you going to have to clean it that knows what to throw away, not what not to throw away?
Well, that's the thing. When I talked to Frank about it, we were gonna go and meet there, I think it'd be in, yeah.
Right. So, and I was in there, I went in there the other day and I was like, okay, it's no different than it usually is. Like, we probably need to get all of our volunteers down there and clean it. I'm not sure, because once again, if you hire somebody to clean it. We have to do that, but then also depending on who you hire. You have to find a cleaner that has I would assume, now I'm assuming. I'm assuming this, you have to find somebody who has an independent contractor's license. Or you have to pay work comp on.
Well, we paid work comp on the kids when they went up and cleaned it.
Well, yeah,
solid
that's,
waste.
that's all
the
I'm
biggest
saying.
concern is, I think it just needs to be swabbed out good, and we could start with fresh, because I don't know where you put, I mean, I would name there, and where would you put the traps and where would you start? I mean, there's stuff that.
Well, we can start and see how it goes for a while and go from there. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. Those would be our concerns about who we're letting in the building. I mean, we've already had the discussion with you guys that most of the stuff that's, we could have used for our jump kits are all gone. Like, I don't want stuff to disappear out of there that is useful.
No, we don't need, I'm just trying to figure out how to make it better, and I don't know where this, just start.
So I don't know where to start either, but that would be my suggestion, is that we can get together with our crew and be like, we should meet a day and swab it out.
That's all.
That sounds good.
Pretty simple.
I mean, that,
Would you do that?
yes, we will do that. We will do that.
Then we can try to seal a couple of them doors a little better. The county can do that. When I find somebody to do that, fix it. Just so maybe we can, I mean, you ain't gonna keep them all.
No.
But I mean, at least you make an attempt to do something.
Our fixer upper is busy doing his own project. So have you guys ever used those, those plug-in mouse? They make a
Yeah, I
noise.
think so, nice.
The beep,
Yeah,
I have one.
does it work?
So when I moved into my grandpa's house after I passed the downstairs, because he hadn't been down there in forever, there was so many mice. And so we bought one and put it in there, and I think it's worked. There's been not a lot of mice. We still have some mice, but I don't know if it's that, me being down there and the cat, I don't know if it makes it all, but
Well, no, they're not that steady, because no matter how you close the door. The rolling doors for the ambulance, them out, they never seal tight enough that a mouse can't get under them.
But if we
Yeah.
put some, maybe, just to. Start, I ain't kidding you, because once they go down that other stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Right, oh,
So, did you see a pack rat issue?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes,
My
I see
it's
it's poop
bigger.
in there, and I know it's packed, and I don't know.
did you friend it or?
It was in the wall.
Oh,
I didn't have my shotgun, otherwise I would have got it. Please, you can reach in.
I was just wondering.
No, it's a pack rat.
Okay,
Did it smell?
yeah,
Yeah, they smell.
It's a pack rat, I know what they are, yeah, it's. Yeah,
Go on.
that's my biggest concern, because if they get into them ambulances and start
Oh, yeah.
on the wires and that. That's the next thing. So that's all I had on this. It was just a little bit, and I talked to Frank when we were gonna meet. Just both busy.
so I have a couple of things I want to give you guys a little food for thought. Okay,
Where's it at? The food.
so we've had this discussion brought up a couple of times about like the Lucas machine and you not being with the Phillipsburg ambulance. I really don't care about that, but I want you to think about this. The power cot that was in the back of the Phillipsburg ambulance is gone. It was gifted to be borrowed to Eagle Ambulance. Here is my thought process for the entire county. Okay, if we had a mass casualty. And the Drummond ambulance got 3 EMTs on scene. The Phillipsburg ambulance is unusable without that power cot in it. You have $150,000 piece of equipment that is unusable. They don't have another cot to put in it. There isn't another cot like that. It has to be a power cot. That's a $25,000 piece of equipment that belongs to the county.
I thought she was supposed to bring it back when she got her.
I don't know if we ever did the letter, that'd be more bad, because when you were talking here, we were
We
in.
reached out to her.
I don't think we ever did.
I emailed her, and asked for about, I can't remember exactly what my email said, it's been a while, but I haven't heard back, and I did send a follow-up and I still haven't heard back.
So here's the mass casualty deal. Should we have 3 people on our ambulance? Even if we had 2 EMTs on our ambulance and we could ask one of the firemen to drive our ambulance. If it was here and you could say, go get Phillipsburg ambulance, we'll split up. We got a jump kit, we'll split up. You can't use that piece of equipment. You can't use it. That's my concern. I'm not picking, I'm just saying. I think that you need to have all of your ducks in a row in case something happens, or even if you wanted to sell that ambulance, it's not.
We tried.
Okay, so this wasn't gifted,
No, you're right. They borrowed it.
they borrowed it because theirs was broken and they were gonna get it.
Yeah, it's on loan.
And that's,
So we need it back,
Yeah,
and they were told, right, give it back.
I don't
I
think,
have to remember what my email said, because I had reached out to see what all equipment they had is where it stemmed from. I would have to look back through and see
I'll
what
call
it
her today,
said.
when I get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will purchase some traps and. Maybe what we need is a resident cat. Does anybody have a good rat killing cat? We'll just get a clear box.
When I had Dixie,
You had Dixie?
she walked in there with me.
Oh, I was like, what do you mean you had her? I thought maybe you got rid of her.
She jumped out truck, I'm in, she was nuts.
You should just left her there. She would have found
It
it.
was in the wall, you could hear
Yeah. Okay, is that all you guys need me for?
it. That's all we needed, we'll get that, and I'll get a hold of the Drummond ambulance and find out what they got. And get back.
Eagle.
We don't
Any
have
news on a
Eagle.
QRU? Any news on the QRU that you guys were gonna?
Frank has found a vehicle, no, that's not true. Let me backtrack that. Frank has found one that he likes, so that he was going to look into it. I don't know where it's gone from there. He's in the truck, so I hear from him randomly. But our plan is to still move ahead with that. I took the ambulance in to have the recall. I don't even know what it was. They fixed it anyway. One of our ambulances had a recall on it. The other thing is that we're looking into, we discussed selling one of those to buy the QRU or whatever. I'm not 100% sure the county can sell it because we got it on a grant.
Not both of them, just the one, right?
Both of them were off the DOT grant.
Hmm.
So. I have to look into that. That's something we have to, I have to get a hold of. It was a DOT grant, so I have to get a hold of the DOT to see.
Our ambulances though, we have, when we told you you'd get anything, or restock them, have you done that? Or do you know what
restock our ambulance. No, we haven't because we need a lock on our supply door because things disappear and then nobody seems to know where it's at. We're also missing all of our handheld radios. Like all the handheld radios, we had 2 of them in each ambulance, they're gone. They're like the great big ones, you know, like you use on the fire or whatever. They've all been taken out of our shed and we have no idea. Once again, when the door is not locked and we don't know who has access, stuff disappears.
That one should be turned to the sheriff then if it's. Yeah, just gone,
Well, the problem is that then too, we don't know how long they've been missing.
yeah.
Because we went to go get one so that we had one for, I don't know, I don't even know what it was. But none of them were there, right there. Those are all,
Is there a keypad on that door?
yes.
But I would change the code then,
Oh, well, we did,
and
and then
people are
we
still getting
we had to give it back.
to,
Well, we gave it to the sheriff's department and dispatch has it. Dispatch knows what it is.
Cause the sheriff.
Yeah,
Uses
yeah.
for DUIs and stuff.
but yeah, it shouldn't be given out beyond that. I think back to your the DOT, it could change things if you're using those funds then to purchase that. I think that may
Right.
change that. Yeah, finding that out would be. good.
Yeah. So I just have to get a hold of them and find it out.
But you may want to change that the code again, and let the sheriff's office know.
So we're going to move all of our files also into our supply room and everything will be locked behind that because.
Cause they go in, they use
Yeah, I want to make sure it's protected.
down the wood. That's all we have, all right,
All right,
Thanks.
yeah.
thanks.
Aren't you guys supposed to be on lunch break?
No, you don't get much break.
I make
Why?
them stay through.
Really, it's a pusher.
Yeah, I make them stay through.
I'd rather sit through lunch.
I would agree. I would rather sit through lunch and be done. I agree.
That's a good one. Thanks.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
So Mary Lieber is going to be coming in and she couldn't come in till 1, which is kind of why your day's
She's
been.
out.
Oh, is she?
Yeah,
She
she's
was
out there.
here early then. Originally, she couldn't be here till 1.
We have to go out. Can we go out?
Yeah, take
Just
a break.
Personnel now,
Yeah.
yeah.
Personnel.
Here.
Is she? Let me go see. She might be waiting for Jan.
We're back on. That was, we went off for a few minutes, talk about a personal issue
Personnel.
or personnel. I don't get that mixed up. Anyway, personnel. So we're back on. Yeah, that personal is really,
That was one of the things that Elena mentioned too, is that we can't close the meetings for personnel, but she said personal.
Yeah, it's your personal,
Personnel.
yeah,
yeah, I think. that's
right to privacy.
If an immediate personnel problem comes up,
You gotta.
we can immediately shut that
Yeah.
door.
Yeah,
Right.
the
A little side.
person's, the public's right to know does not exceed
With
privacy, the personal issue.
my house is in really dark.
Let's go.
My road got a bunch of gravel on it the last couple of days.
The townhouse,
Yeah, and they're widening one of the streets. And so they're leveling it and I'm going, ooh. I wonder how long it's gonna be that way. before it gets its potholes done.
Jana just got here, so they should be in here in a minute.
I will need to work too today.
It's almost $1 million now, house now, the tax.
Yeah.
No,
You know, all the houses.
oh my God, my house isn't with that.
I don't know, $700. Mine went up, real estate went up $700.
your property tax. But it sounds like potentially there were some errors there, so they got, but. we Gotta figure out which,
Or it's whatever.
where they were.
Charlie Parks asked if he should write.
Well-
He should.
I forgot about that.
I'm asking a family member for property to be qualified as agricultural land.
Well, you know, like when they say the maintenance issue and stuff, I gotta remember, we've done that every year, we've helped there, we've given sand, we've done there.
Is this the road across the road tracks?
That's.
I don't need you anymore.
And then, you want me over there?
Yeah, cause I think we're confused on a vote. I got all totally
So-
different numbers than what you have.
Come on
Okay,
up,
so we
ladies.
have the.
I go to sign in.
Yeah.
Sign in, please.
What's
that? Sign in,
But it's
please.
not seen it.
What's my line? That's my line.
And I.
Yes, okay.
Dad's name. And
What's
did
my-
a license
sign in.
plate sticker, the one that you're looking for.
Oh,
Is the one
Yeah, I'm
that
old
you
enough to
like
remember
for
these.
So I'm just gonna give you another one for that, so we're gonna call it good.
I think it's right before your.
I need to
How's
pay for
that
it?
done? No,
Alright.
they're free.
Remember, what's my?
I thought it was number.
What's my line? Yeah, you do.
Okay.
We just have to come in and-
2852 and then gotta be.
Yeah, see, so I think that,
Well-
because this one is like an 8-6.
How you doing? I haven't talked to the boss.
I
just can't come in here. Stocking with Vicky. We know how these things are. Front door stuff.
Sure. Okay. Had a push on about built it, and they were all laughing.
Maybe also.
Well, I wasn't.
We just went and got double bubble.
We knew you were gonna die.
Well, we'll go ahead and get started here, Mayor Leeper. On the Southwest Main Street Road.
So you got the stuff I sent up. I don't, I'm not sure what else you want me to say. It's just, those were your records, not ours. Your record, your.
In other words, we just want the commissioners to ratify that decision.
Yes, yeah. That's it.
So the only thing I can think of is. There could be a potential interim agreement that came between 1970 and current that maybe the commission may need to look at. So I mean, a little more research
Yeah, if you want to
needs
look at
done,
it.
because, I mean, even looking at 2013, the town was thinking that was, you guys were thinking as part of the town control that, and so it's been.
So for my tenure, which is many years, it just, I guess how it came about was that it was a. The county and the town and the state worked together. To fix that, and then the state kind of pulled out. There were more than one time that the state of Montana would redirect traffic through Drummond, not say anything. Oh no, we'll help you with it. Well, the last time that happened, when they were working on bridges, they didn't tell anybody. And not even the state guys out at the shop. So I went down to our district in Missoula and said, hey, could you not even give us a courtesy call with it? And the engineer that I met with, I remember his name, said, well, we don't have to, it's our road. I said, well, why are you not maintaining it then? And so from that point on, they did that for what, a year and a half?
Remember that Nancy that we talked?
Well, right, so you talked to her, that was previous, you talked to her, I talked to her, made promises, we didn't get it in writing. And then she retired. And so I asked Montana Department of Transportation for anything they have. And that's what they provided, that stuff, and then I looked through and found that on your guys' archive records. And I had looked through the town's minutes too. There's nothing that says in there that says Drummond said, okay, we'll assume responsibility.
And yeah, I don't disagree with any of this from 1970. If there's just something after that that we're. That because I don't have it myself, and I'm not
I'm
saying
just
anyone does.
speculating it happened just like with the land. Is, you know, everybody's position changes,
Yeah.
memories are not there, the institutional knowledge is
Yeah.
not there. And you just think, oh, it's because it's in Drummond, they're gonna take care of it.
Yeah.
That would be a natural assumption without anybody looking into it, so.
It was always weird why they split it.
Well, that's that was the thing is, why would you split that? I
Is it-
mean, it made
Where
no
does the
sense.
city go out to exact? Does it go to Pat?
I think it goes to the.
It goes to the bridge and then the park is in city limits.
So then it cuts back down. It don't go like to the walking or the.
No,
the-
that,
other.
no, the walking trail, no, so it goes up to. What's it, Colbett's. It goes up to the old Milwaukee grade is where it goes.
Like where Billy Joe's house. is.
Right.
But it's on the north side of that grade there, right? Or just go to the river?
It does not go, it just goes up to the old Milwaukee grade. And then. The town limits does, and then the park also, and there's a piece of property. In that's parks that we still haven't been able to. Get DOR to, they say it's, well, it's not. You know,
Another thing.
Yeah.
that's a whole, yeah, it's just another.
What I look at it too is there's no way Drummond could ever have maintained that piece of road. Seriously, as of today, we just don't have the resources to maintain it. So,
Yeah, I mean, we had it looked at, right, to estimate 1.2 million. To redo
it.
and,
Right, I remember you bringing that to our attention and what you're trying to get grant money or something.
we did, and we actually, thank you, Mr. Fitzpatrick. Worked very hard and we got $190,000 to fix that.
the bridge.
The bridge and I, you know, with that, when I first emailed Blaine and whatnot, I mean. And
Steel bridge.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, to put a flat bottom.
Well, I think that's how it came up again, is
It did,
Fitzpatrick was
yeah.
gonna get money for the bridge. And they just, and they needed to know
Well-
if it was part of the abandoned property, the bridge. So then it just kind of snowballed off of there. And what would happen with the bridge money? It just passed through Drummond to come to you guys.
Well, that, or we can, I don't know, that's something that I think that we need to talk about, because I don't know if they decide, no, we ain't gonna, you know, hopefully we can have an understanding. And Triple Tree's the one that's done, our engineer is the one that's done all the work on that. So obviously, you know, we would like to honor that.
Have they given a price estimate on the total price on that bridge?
Yeah,
What is that?
I'm sorry.
The 190 is only.
I thought you included that in that big $1 million price. I thought that was.
He did, but then he cut that out.
I don't think
To
they ever,
just do
they
the
ever
bridge.
did.
What's so special about being that's an irrigation ditch? Why it has to be so professional for them? Like, what do we put bottom? Put bottom, you know, every spot is-
Well, and that's what we are looking at is putting a square bottom.
The drive over it fall off. I mean, it's like.
Like a prefab. cement.
Is the. We just want it up to standard. It is the biggest deal. That's all. And how that comes about, I think that we can work on that and we'll work together about how that goes.
It's really bad.
So basically your point is, if it's the county's road, we'd
Well,
like to
under the
maintain.
statute, bridges with the county,
So,
so.
They are, like, this has never happened in the state of Montana that a town.
You'll have to show me that statute. 'cause I
Oh,
haven't
it's-
seen it.
you should have-
All right. I'm not the student, I didn't have it.
City attorney for your watch, because that's when the state was gonna do that great big bridge project there. And there was a couple of other little ones down the creek. They were talking about who does those, does the city, does the county, and that's when it came out then that counties own the bridges.
Well, and here's the thing, it's just like when Paul. And you can, yeah, you could call Brad, our engineer said. This has never happened before. He has talked to many engineers. And bridges are counties, but you can talk to him about that. You know, when talking with Paul. And letting him know after I'd sent the paperwork to you saying, hey, this is time sensitive on that road, because we have rodeo coming up, number one, big event in Drummond, and those people that live out there have to get to and fro. So our city guy helped.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Good job.
They, and so I think that's the main point, is working together with it. I mean, our mill is worth $370, you know, I mean, that doesn't go a long ways. And I think that's the main focus, you guys, is we just want it to be able to be, you know.
And that's lots and lots of money to redo that.
Well, but do you have to do that?
There's grants out there.
Yeah, what you've chip sealed there on the other side,
Right.
it looks all right, but.
Well, it's holding up fine, you know, I mean, the cops will have a heyday when it was in good shape, because the speed limit out there is 25.
Oh, it is.
Uh-huh, yeah. So,
Yeah, to the bridge.
Oh.
After the bridge, it's 35.
35?
I'm pretty sure, yeah,
but, yeah, so, I mean, I guess if you guys, you know, I've looked through all of our minutes.
well, yeah, we can look at, and then possibly there's nothing there, well, yeah.
Sure, yeah, I mean, that's all we can do, is hopefully looking down the road, I mean, you know, I don't.
I'd replow it in the winter too.
We do. I mean, you guys probably figure the way down too. Well, and they probably do, I mean, trying to help each other out, you know.
We did that down in the frontage of
Yeah.
state road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and that's
stayed alone.
well, and that's, it's just like going up the gulch. You know, it's the same thing, I mean, the county, after the second cattle, or after the cattle guard, it's a county and stuff, but, or up to the dump, I always say, well, we'll plow there if you don't have the time to do it, we get it. So, anyway, I mean, I don't know, so you guys want to look more into
I
it?
think, yeah, yes, you know, before we make any decisions,
Look more, okay,
find out everything in the bridge.
in other words. Someone this up. It's county road after the bridge.
Right now, that's how it's being maintained,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, well,
And
the bridge to Highway 1 has been historically, yeah,
The bridge
yeah.
to Highway 1 is
Park
county
Fork Bridge. And
And
what they're, yeah,
city.
but what they're saying, these documents, the county agreed to take on all of
Maintain
it,
the whole thing.
all of it. I'm saying, possibly there was some agreement
Okay.
after the fact, but I don't know. I'll have to do some digging. But the shape of that road from the Clark Fork Bridge into town is,
It needs to
yeah,
be what
yeah.
it needs to be.
Oh, well, there again, in my tenure, it's had 2 floods over it. Major floods over it.
That's why I was wondering, guy, you know, instead of spending all that money on the engineering, that if they couldn't tear that up, like some belting down, put gravel over it and then chip seal.
Well, and here's the deal. If you guys decide, you
We don't have
know,
the money.
to say, hey, yep, that's our road for us to maintain, then you guys do whatever it is that you do. I mean, turning away $190,000, somebody else will use it.
Well, you can still be able to use that on that bridge, so, because they're gonna be.
It is.
that-
Yeah, it's allocated to
It
the.
is.
Why was-
Yeah.
Right.
Stuck on.
I don't know that, but, you
If-
know,
They usually don't.
Well, and if it's that ARPA money in that, I think it's sort of tied to that. You really gotta have some records that it was spent on.
They have to use it for the water, there's a water thing.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
tied,
that's right.
yeah. You guys have that money town sitting in your fund right now, or is it having
It's not been
I
allocated.
think, Representative Fitzpatrick is waiting to hear from us on this issue,
Okay,
so he's
Well-
aware of it, he's aware of it.
Well, I think that he's just waiting for the governor to sign.
It has been.
Which he has,
It
so
has.
now,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
What's that, really? Oh, I thought you-
Oh, no,
yeah, I'm not sure.
By the way, as a side note, if he gets reelected, he's likely gonna be the chair of that capital improvement projects, and so it'll be just like historic improvement and other type of projects.
And the districts are different.
He
They
would,
changed.
yeah, he would,
Oh,
he'd be covering
It's
Powell,
Yes.
yeah,
Didn't he just get elected?
but those are 2-year terms, but they just redistricted. Well. But like part of Georgetown will be going to where he's at, or part of it,
Oh, right, go to him.
part of it, but yeah, he'll be in the Powell Granite. Yeah,
So.
Well, we'll
Changes,
just look into it a little more and then
well,
see
okay,
what we gotta do and then maybe talk about that bridge stuff. and, you know,
Okay, so you look into it a little bit more.
well,
What? make-
just on the county for us to look through. I don't think, I'm assuming Billy's already looked and heard. There's more looking, and so it's not gonna be, there's not a lot of places to go.
We look through it and we find documentation, yeah, okay, we agreed to maintain it. For example, so then we have to maintain it.
Yeah. Well, there's already that agreement,
There's
unless there's a secondary agreement with the town of Drummond, and that's the only thing.
Is there? And what did you propose to do is like tear it up, gravel it, and
I'm just throwing that out, I
we need to do something, right?
yeah.
You have to, it's horrible.
Well, the frostbites come in there, the bumps come in so bad, I didn't know, guy, you just have to lay the belt down and then cover it up with heavier gravel and put gravel and chips in.
Okay, so that's something that we'd have to budget for because it's.
Yeah,
It's an option, and you know how that.
yeah,
well. No matter what. The county would do, it's gonna be better than it is right now. I mean,
Now it's just getting narrower and narrower.
Yeah.
Edges are all busted.
potholes is
yeah,
literally.
yeah, I don't even drive it.
Good there, I thought.
I drive it, I
Do you?
did it, just did it. It is true.
They got it all. They did, they got it all, and that was a,
That's Band-Aid.
you know,
Yeah, that's-
collaborative
About all you
effort.
can do is Get enough funds to.
Right.
To then kind of peel like, you know, we're not gonna.
Honestly, I was
Well, we
looking,
can certainly ask our engineer if there's still some, I mean, we're not gonna apply for them. But we can ask him if, just, he's got knowledge of what is available out there to apply.
Yeah, cause he looked into it. and like
He
we
looked
thought,
into it
you know,
before.
him, David was Grand Slayer two things.
When did he do that, 2 or 3 years ago? Was it a hard five?
well, but he even updated estimate to
Right.
Fitzpatrick.
I-
This legislative year, so maybe we'll send that.
Yeah, do you have a separate for the bridge? Did he separate out what the bridge is gonna cost? Can you
If he
send that over?
did it in writing, yeah.
Okay.
Should be able to get it.
Well, I just said to Billy, send that to, I think he separated the bridge part out. And so I'll be talking to
That way
Brad,
we can see.
and
the
then we
difference
can
in cost.
forward that up here to you guys and see what, and in the meantime, I'll give Representative Fitzpatrick a call too.
He was trying to get DOT to take that back. I think that was
That would.
going to fall on deaf ears, but I mean, he wasn't
Because
ready.
DOT wants all the small towns to take the roads on and.
Yeah, even maintaining their highways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're like.
State's been doing
We're
it.
not doing it.
Yeah,
We can't.
Maybe Bose might can afford that,
Yeah,
but you're small town,
there's no way.
it's like Deer Lodge taking that highway that goes through the town. There's just no way.
that's been the way the state's been doing it with a lot of things. Department of Revenue, DOC, I mean, this revolving door of probation, it just puts people in county jail, so it just puts the pressure, to me, it puts pressure on the county.
It does, well, and I mean,
But I think the more well.
Yeah.
Push it out enough that we can get that engineer stuff and we can start looking into it and if the budgets are coming and. At least try to Band-Aid it and it's Band-Aid now.
Well, and that's just it. That was the main focus was, because I honestly thought about putting signs up that said to local.
Yeah.
But then it took away from our revenue of our park,
Yeah.
you know, not that we make a lot with that, but it helps keep the park intact.
And, you know, and if that bridge money is appropriated, we want that to get
Right.
to the right place to get it spent.
Yeah.
Because if you don't take it, they'll keep.
Yeah, they go to the next person. on.
Yeah, and that's what we want to do is just make sure
Just
you get.
table this and move, you know.
I mean,
Not table, just.
Yeah, until you do more research.
yeah, until we find out.
I'd say don't go, I mean, it doesn't need to go on and on, we don't find anything, we don't
If
find
we
it.
don't find anything, then
Yeah.
sure, we assume that it's still our
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah,
And that needs to be fixed, so then we go accordingly and say, okay, where we're gonna get funds, and then go after the funds, saying that, yeah, it does need fixed. I mean, it's not like we can ignore it, right?
that. That's, to me, it's a critical road, it's, yeah, I mean, if it's the county, something needs
We
to.
wanted to get a few ideas from some of them road builders and stuff around, you know, might be something different we can do, just, we don't have to be in a home.
Yeah, look at the
You
art.
know, just meet our standards, like you said, because they're way different in the state.
But I don't want to fall in the, you know, in the creek.
Take women, like.
Why you-
The state came and inspected that. And so that's,
They're complaining, so we made them.
I was just, I did find the statute you're referring to, yeah, you're correct. Each Porter County Commissioner shall maintain all public bridges other than those maintained by the Department of Transportation. Public bridges means public bridges located in towns or cities. So,
Belong to the county.
or the counties has to maintain it, not, maintain, different than ownership, but
Maintain.
fortunately, there's not a whole lot in that. category of those bridges.
Anyway, so that's where we're at with.
All right, well, we'll table it and then just do the, try to figure out from this other and start talking to Patrick and find out that bridge stuff and get that and then.
He said,
See if we can get something, maybe it won't be this year, and we'll keep asking the plow.
part of it is get the money and put it in your, put it in your funds and, you know, even if you have to, in abeyance, or whatever you want to call
Well,
it.
and then you
Just make sure you
can,
get it.
you can budget
Might have to put
to
it,
do it yearly and save up the money for 2
Yes.
years down the road.
Well, you put it in
Good
your
deal.
capital improvements.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
that's
That's what I'm saying, is get it.
Yeah.
But-
In case you do.
There,
I'm not in my Pontiac.
there's gonna be stipulations on 190,000 though, on when it has to be.
Expended.
But
Yeah.
it's probably a reasonable time. yeah.
Right. Well, and two, because of this little quirk of. A difference of who maintains,
Yeah,
we might be able to get it, you might be able to get an extension if that has to be done. So.
So I have the. I'll look, I have this, the letter to. Representative Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
And we'll put,
If you want to give a little quick thing on that, so wait, I got to their meeting, but I made it, I was on the record call, but I did talk to Gail and Carrie at
oh,
for the land.
well,
or the-
I'd say have that on the agenda for next week, that works.
we'll put it on,
'Cause I wasn't able to be to the meeting. I was babysitting my basement, well,
When you guys, when the town's ready,
I've been running those. pumps.
So, I think, are you gonna do a memorandum, Jana? Is that what you were gonna do?
I volunteered to do an MOU, but I need to get more information based on the site review and
Right.
that type of.
Yeah, I know. I got
Still
it.
pending.
So you guys got a copy of that from Hans, right? That it's roughly 2.5 acres.
Email.
So it's from the building to the north.
No.
That parcel, which was the one that.
I
I,
promises.
no.
What do you say?
I was gonna say the parcel from Thomas's.
No,
The county
see
got-
that,
That's not.
no, it's not, remember,
North of the building is not the property from Thomas's.
no. No, it's, I took pictures of Hans has it. I thought she.
I
got
thought
that,
Thomas
yeah.
was the one that Thompson or
So,
whatever. was
It was
doing.
Thomas Woodward,
So, boom, boom, those two are the counties,
right?
this red line. Which Hans was the one that said it was about 2 point something acres
It's
is,
a little triangle.
yeah, but it's. It's bigger than it looks, but yeah, anyway, so I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I gotta have that information.
Alright.
And even that.
And when you're ready, then we have it on the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, the whole council was there, I'm not gonna speak for them by any means, but I mean. You know, if it means us. Deeding that land over so. People, so the workers up there can have a bath. Would think
That's all.
2023, we probably.
The public can use the bathrooms too, the public bathroom, right?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I misunderstood you.
No, I never said public. I said we need to keep it so the workers have it. If the emergency, maybe that's
Oh,
where
yeah.
they go use it.
Okay.
We,
Well, you'd have to
we
let
start
public.
letting the public in there.
Well, it's not that big.
You gonna go clean
Have
that?
have you ever? It's disgusting.
Clean it. Thank you.
Yep.
We'll make a motion adjourn. We signed that letter to send to Dave Kessler.
Okay,
It wasn't on there. Scott was in here last week and we talked about getting stuff together and Billy got together, so it's going out, so. We can get that completed over there. He sent me a text. He was sick and that he was supposed to be back going. Planning on trying to wrap up the jail Tuesday or Wednesday and parking barricade right after that. I mean, we just got stuff, it's just.
What is that?
This is the Shoudis edition that we didn't get the signatures from you and Chuck.
Are you
So,
adjourned?
yeah, if you want it, or if you want to guys take stuff off. whatever
So,
you-
so the next meeting is. Not next
2
week,
weeks.
It's on the 11th.
and then we have to meet on.
Oh, that is correct. So I don't know how you guys, so there's a preparation meeting with Kareem from FERC and Jeremiah for the
Yeah.
site visit on the 13th for
Why
the
do we have to do a
inspection.
Preparation meeting when there's just a bunch of.
It's just a
Yeah, no kidding.
It's just a requirement. I didn't know if you want me to just sit in and take notes on the 6th. It's a Teams meeting,
Feel like you want to, you can, but I
Okay.
don't. think-
or if you
They
wanted to
wanna
all
do the-
come and I would post
If
it.
they wanna do these preparation stuffs with our engineers, they should have to pay for that.
Yeah.
Great West.
If they want to break west and do just a setup so they'd be ready for a meeting, they should have to pay for that. We
They're
should
not,
have to
they're
pay
not
that.
going to though.
I mean, all of a sudden now the guy don't know shit about it. He's gonna come in here and you watch the regulations are gonna.
Oh, yeah. I can see that
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah. it's coming.
Oh, and you gotta have they have follow up on that
Seismic,
PGA.
yeah,
analysis
That'll be on
too,
the 11th. That was in their correspondence today.
the seismic stuff,
Yeah,
questions.
yeah,
Want
they
me to
they
repeat
don't
them?
agree with it, they won't accept it. Accept
Yeah.
it,
There's portions, yeah, they're gonna want more,
Information.
Keep this guy,
yeah.
no, that's gonna be bad, that meeting.
cause he don't have a clue on none of this stuff and everything's gonna be by the book and he's gonna be bringing shit that. It's not gonna be good. This last one was bad enough. The first one, she was awesome. She understood stuff.
All right, well, I'll just,
So-
yeah, okay, you're sure. I'll just jump on.
Don't
the
get
Teams
mad
on
that
that one.
that lease with the town of Phillipsburg on the